Did that do it? Are we streaming now? Are we live? Let me double check. Go away. Thing. I think we are. Hi, guys. My name's Andrew. This is Ugly Review, the Ugly Weekend Review for March 24th, 2024. It's 6:32 a.m., and I'm half an hour late, and I greatly apologize. I was trying to get some things lined up. I was trying to get some show prep done so I could at least have kind of an outline of what I wanted to do. So, oh, hold on a second. Ugly Review, the Ugly Weekend Review. Let's see, for 3. I'm just updating the description, guys. Let's see, so Sunday, 3/24/24. And that's fine. Let's leave it there. Blah, 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 blah. Hi, guys. My name's Andrew. It's the Ugly Weekend Review. And there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot I missed. I apologize. I didn't have any time last evening to do any show prep. I didn't have any time last evening to do any show prep. And the reason why is because I was getting a ketamine infusion. Well, I received a ketamine infusion yesterday at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. I received a ketamine infusion, and that was my 9th or 10th. I can't remember. It was my 9th or 10th infusion, and it was wild, man. It was wild. So I started getting those back in January of 2023. Yes. It was late January, early February of 2023. And at the time, I had been seeing a psychiatrist. I'm sorry. I'm going to have to get a new mic arm. This thing is a piece of shit. Piece of junk. I'm going to have to get a new mic arm. And at the time when I was getting the first ketamine infusions, I had been seeing a psychiatrist. And I had an incident where I ended up in the hospital. And that's a whole nother can of worms. So we'll go into it at some point. But I ended up, and I was seeing a psychiatrist, and I was taking all sorts of medication. I was taking all sorts of goddamn pharmaceuticals, and it was so awful, so terrible. And I needed to get off it, and I needed to get something straight in my head. I needed to get the anxiety and the bullshit worked out. So I heard ketamine infusions, and I went and I met this lovely lady named Janet, and she helped me, and we did 6 infusions in 2 weeks, and it completely changed the way I view reality, and I'm not kidding about that. And yesterday was quite the experience. The best way I can describe it, I won't keep harping on this, but the best way I can describe the experience is, stay with me, okay? Imagine, okay, this is your normal perception of reality. Imagine you're in a big house with a bunch of windows. I hate this mic. I'm going to get a new mic arm. Imagine you're in a big house with a lot of windows. And at any given time, your perception of reality is just you looking out one of those windows, right? Just one at any given time. That's just your normal view of reality. When you're down in the ketamine trip, because it's a trip, when you're down in it, it allows you to look out of all of those windows at the exact same time, all of the windows of the big house at the exact same time, and it's almost like you see a direct line of connection to each and everything, and you see how they all interact, and you see how they all go together, and you see where all the pieces fit, and you go, you have that galaxy brain moment, and you're like, I get it. I just get it. And it's like, so if like normal therapy, I'll stop after this. If like a normal therapy session would be like, your brain has shut something off due to trauma. So a normal therapy session is, they say they want to break down that barrier, break down that wall, and allow you to process that trauma. Well, if that happens just with one area of your brain opening at any given time, and it unleashes a bunch of trauma that you've been repressing, and compartmentalized over the years, that could really damage you, right? Because all of a sudden you're getting overrun, flooded with all of these terrible emotions and feelings again, and you may not know what to do, right? Because you haven't experienced these things in so long. You haven't dealt with them before, so you may not know what to do. And of course, that's what the therapist is there to help you walk through those things, but a lot of times they just throw medications at you, which is what happened to me. And what the ketamine does is it breaks down every wall, every barrier in your brain at the same time and allows everything to process together at the same time. Now, that's the best way I can describe it from my own view, my own perception. But medically, what has been shown is that it is proven to reconnect neurotransmitters in the brain, previous neurotransmitters that have been previously shut off or died or for whatever reason stopped working because maybe some trauma or something, and it reactivates them. This is scientifically proven. Trust the science, but has been scientifically proven that it reactivates some nerves and some reactors in the brain. So all of a sudden, it's wild, man. I don't know if it's for everybody, but I would suggest it if you're dealing with some bullshit. I think it can be very beneficial to a lot of people. I really, really do. I'm not saying just go jump into it. I'm not saying just do this for fun. This is something where you have to go through a doctor and you have to get a recommendation. You have to get a recommendation, and you have to a letter from a psychiatrist, whoever. And I don't see that psychiatrist anymore. And I don't take any pharmaceuticals anymore. Not one. I have not taken a pharmaceutical in I don't remember how long. And this stuff helped. So there's my rant. And that's letting you know what happened. That's how my weekend has been going. How's your weekend? Bet you weren't expecting that. Now you're probably thinking, oh, I get it. Now I see what's wrong with this guy. He's on ketamine. I'm not on ketamine right now. I'm actually kind of have the hangover. You just feel foggy and kind of, It'll wear off. But how's your weekend going? I'm doing all right. Now, besides that, I have to say something. It is my lovely wife's birthday. My lovely wife, Jamie, my wife, since it'll be 2 years in September, but we have been together since July of 2019, and it is her birthday today. And I just want to say I love you so very much, dear. I really do. Thank you for dealing with my bullshit. I don't know how you do, but nobody has to, but for some reason you chose to. And I thank you every single day for dealing with my crazy bullshit. So thank you. I love you so very much. Happy birthday, babe. Happy birthday. Needed to say that. Okay, let's jump in. Let me bring up my outline, my syllabus. This is going to be a little bumpy. Like I said, I didn't have any time to show prep last night because when I came home, you come home after the ketamine, and it's just like, I just need to sit down. I just need to lay down. It's just odd because your nerves are just going in a million different directions. They're kind of muffled a little bit, but also trying to like fire at the same time. It's weird. It's kind of a weird feeling, but. So this is going to be a little bumpy. I'm going to bear with me. There's a lot to talk about. But let's start off with something interesting if you haven't seen it. So on Fandom Pulse, this is Fandom Pulse. Good website. I've been looking at their stuff, and they do some good work. Game developers channel inner cultist and strange public ritual at Game Developers Conference, organized by former Epic Games producer and Fortnite Festival designer. And we're just kind of jumping right in here, but I just wanted to kind of get right into the crazy. Let's just get right into the crazy. If you couldn't tell already, opening with the ketamine talk, let's just get right into the crazy insanity bullshit. How's this looking on the screen? I had to adjust my... let me, hold on. I just want to make sure this is visible for you all. Sorry. Okay, so let's just watch this first, and you can maybe guess what you're looking at. These douchebags with their fists in the air. Okay, so what do you think that was? If you don't know what that was, let's the tweet right there. Do they still call them tweets now that it's X, or is it the X marks the spot? I don't fucking know. Learning of the law. Western game developers scream at the Game Developers Conference 2024 against Gamergate, patriarchy, and the industry. Totally sane behavior. No wonder they end up making female characters look like vegan gremlins. Yes, the West has fallen. Yes, I'm not even going to get into that. The West falling. I got a lot to say on that, but that's not what this show is about. Kind of, but not really. How does this look over here? Oh, this does look pretty good. I'm just trying to make sure the imaging looks good. Yeah, it does look pretty good. Okay. Game Developers Channel, we already went over that. In a scene straight out of a surreal indie game, a group of over 50 game developers descended upon Yerba Buena Gardens in what can only be described as a bizarre display of collective angst. Their mission? To scream. These individuals took part in a cult-like congregation at the Game Developers Conference organized by former Epic Games producer Carol Shaw and Fortnite Festival designer Scott John Siegel, and engaged in what they dubbed the GD Scream event with the goddamn scream, or I guess game developers goddamn, that's fine. A ritualistic outburst aimed at expressing their dissatisfaction with the massive layoffs in the gaming industry and Gamergate 2.0. It was a motley crew of disillusioned developers armed with woke ideology and esoteric signs that read "Scream," assembling at a park at the GDC with all of the solemnity. I don't think I've ever read that word before. Of a religious gathering. And then, at the stroke of noon, the cacophony began. A cacophony that could only been described as equal parts pitiful and pathetic. These are adults. These are adults, I guess. They're adolescents in adult bodies, but they're not adults. The masterminds behind this spectacle at the GDC, Scott John Siegel and Carol Shaw, seemed oblivious to the sheer absurdity of their actions. Siegel, with a self-righteous air about him, bemoaned the industry's exploitation of passion. What? Exploitation of passion. Shaw, meanwhile, eagerly embraced her role as co-conspirator, organizing the event with all the enthusiasm of a true believer in a cult of victimhood. In conversations with these self-proclaimed screamers, one couldn't help but marvel at the depths of their delusion. They spoke of catharsis and camaraderie, as if screaming into the void could somehow alleviate the very real issues plaguing the industry. One anonymous developer, in a display of cognitive dissonance worthy of a cult initiate, confessed to hating a GDC session on diversity, a session presumably aimed at addressing the very issues they claim to care about. Yeah. Okay. So, oh my God. So, these are the people who have bought into the woke ideology, right? They are the ones who want to put the diversity into the games. They are the ones who think it's the most important thing in the entire whole wide world. They are the ones who think this is going to save humanity, and they are the reason that the gaming industry is collapsing. They cannot stand the idea. They refuse to accept the idea. They have no idea, apparently, that the reason that the game industry is collapsing is because they're scaring away real gamers with their ideological bullshit. There's two things that's driving people away from the gaming industry. One, it's greed. It's corporate greed, and we'll get into that. Well, maybe more than two things, but the big things are greed and ideology, right? The ideology, people, look, I'm not going to beat this dead horse too much. You're all smart enough. You all get this. We all get this. People don't want politics in their games. They just want you to focus on making a good game. Okay? Focus on the gameplay. Focus on the interface. Focus on, you know what? Don't even focus on the CG. Don't even focus on the graphics and the effects or anything. Focus on the story. Focus on the gameplay, the interaction. Focus on the puzzles. Focus on the creative, the uniqueness of the game. Focus on the story. Focus on the gameplay. The interface, just the basics. You guys need to go back to the basics. We've gotten to this point where we've gotten to this point where people, like, the same thing's happened in movies, right? They think that just high production value, they think that big studio just means good movie or good game, and it freaking doesn't. Hey, Florence, what's up? How are you? Sweet baby, yeah, good morning, by the way. Yeah, I'm not gonna, I know. I don't want to, there's a lot to talk about, but seems like there's a lot that I've missed over like the past 48 hours, and if you're just joining me, I won't bemoan the point again. I went on a little bit of a rant earlier, but I had a ketamine infusion yesterday, so I missed a little bit because I was out of it like the second half of, like 3 p.m. on yesterday. But there seems to have been a lot that's happened. Higher production value does not equal a good movie. God, that can be applied to a bunch of fucking movies. Yeah, it sure can. It sure can. And the same thing seems to be happening in the gaming industry, right? I think Call of Duty is a good example. Call of Duty is a good example, right? It's just, well, it's Call of Duty, right? It's, it's Activision, EA, and everything, and look how good it looks. It looks great. It looks fantastic. But it's just the same. And Assassin's Creed is another good. It's just the same thing recycled over and over and over again, right? They don't want to focus. They don't want to focus on the gameplay. They don't want to have to. They don't want to have to spend the time creating a new story or a new interface or anything. Just put a new coat of paint on it, slap it on there, put it out there, sell it. So it's the greed. The greed is doing it, and then it's the politics, right? And these people just look at this. Look at this. Yeah, and you've probably seen this, and I know it's like, good God, man. Grow up, right? Now compare this with, where'd he go? Let me move this down here a little bit. Compare this with Sven Vinke, the head of Larian Studios, right? A guy who focuses on gameplay, a guy who focuses on story, who focuses on the experience for the gamer. And they made Baldur's Gate 3. They made the Divinity games. They made the previous Baldur's Gate games. Wait, did they make Baldur's Gate 1? I can't remember. But compare that with what he said here, right? Let me, I saw that screaming video. Someone I don't remember put it very aptly. Literal children brains and adult. That's exactly what I said. Adolescent minds and adult bodies. It's very, very true. And they won't grow up. And that screaming is a sign that they don't want to take responsibility for their own actions. And part of growing up is taking responsibility for your own actions. And they don't want to do it. They are not willing to look themselves in the mirror and say, maybe I caused this. Maybe I did something. Maybe I've got to grow up a little bit. And maybe change myself rather than expecting the entire world to change. Right? Man doesn't make the times make the man. But contrast that with Sven Vink. I'll just, whatever. We'll go into this. Yeah, Vinky. The directors of Baldur's Gate 3, Sven Vink, was one of many to speak out on the recent mass layoffs within the video game industry at an industry awards show last night, blaming the job losses on corporate greed that had been fucking this whole thing up for so long. And this is, okay, let's just read a little bit more and I'll go into my diatribe. Held as part of the Game Developers Conference in San Francisco, the Independent Games Festival Awards and Game Developers Choice Awards were full of criticism for companies that had made workers redundant over the past 18 months during what has widely been regarded as the worst period ever seen for job security in the video games industry. Greed has been fucking this whole thing up for so long, since I started, Vinky said. Vinky? While collecting the GDCA Best Narrative Award for Baldur's Gate 3, I've been fighting publishers my entire life, and I keep on seeing the same mistakes over and over and over. It's always the quarterly profits, he continued. There it is. The only thing that matters are the numbers. And then you fire everybody, and then next year you say, shit, I'm out of developers. And then you start hiring people again, and you do acquisitions, and then you put them in the same loop, and it's just broken. So This is kind of where this all started, right? So, it's the same thing that happened to Hollywood. The banks got involved. The investors got involved. They bought the studios, started investing in the studios, became majority shareholders. And eventually they said, well, the most important, not eventually, but they came in and they said, the most important thing to us is the bottom line. It's the return on investment for the shareholders. Now, that's what banks are legally obligated to do. Banks and investment bankers are legally obligated to basically demand the best return for their shareholders, right? It's their fiscal responsibility as a fiduciary. Fiduciary. God, I'm tired, and I've been hit in the head a lot. That's their responsibility, legally binding. But that doesn't mesh with creativity, right? You can't force or rush creativity. And this is a creative industry. This and Hollywood are creative industries. When you start putting the bottom line ahead of the story, this is what you get. We talked about Call of Duty and Assassin's Creed being good examples of that, right? Just slap it on there. Don't worry about the story. Rush it out. Get it out there. We need new season, new year, new edition, new, this, that, or the other, new chapter. Same thing. Just throw it out there. They'll buy it, and they will. And look at Call of Duty. The only reason they keep making Call of Duty the way they do is because people keep buying it. It's the same thing with Madden. I haven't played Madden in a long time. But it's the same thing with those, right? It's the exact same thing. If people stopped buying it, they'd be forced to change. I personally have a nuanced view of this. Art is great. I love making art. But I also very much understand why banks and producers have to be realistic about artistic ambition versus profits. Yeah, and I'm not... One moment. My headphones are falling off. Yeah. I am not going to begrudge a banker for doing their job, right? They're doing what they get paid to do. As we said, their responsibility is for their shareholders. Their job is to get profit. Their job is to make money. There's nothing wrong with that. People like Larian Studios, right? Sven Vinky that's going to bug the hell out of me. He and his wife are the majority shareholders of Larian Studios, and he has said in the past, and he's talking about it right now, the greed, that he would never sell that because he has seen what has happened, right? And I agree. There has to be some kind of happy medium, because when you see something like Baldur's Gate 3, where they took their time, where they weren't answering to bankers, they took their time. It took them 7 years to make this game. So they were allowed to do it the way they wanted to do it, and they made the best game of the year. Some people would argue that it's one of the best games ever made. I don't know. I'm not that hardcore of a gamer where I could really probably have too good of a say in that, but I have played it and it is a great freaking game. It is great. And they put the creativity before the profits. But because they took their time, look how much they profited. Right? Look how successful the game was. And that's going to pay dividends to Larian because now all of these everyone else is going to look at this. All the gamers are going to say, well, Larian did it the right way. I'm going to pay attention to Larian Studios now. They're on my radar. And I had not played, again, not a hardcore gamer. I had not played Divinity before I had heard of Baldur's Gate 3. And now I'm paying attention to everything Larian does. Because they made this wonderful game, and it's going to pay dividends for them down the road. So I think that there has to be some kind of happy medium that these banks are going to have to, they're going to have to understand when they invest in creative endeavors that it's not the same as a traditional investment, right? It's not like, well, we have to meet this number and this number and this number. It's like, no, we just have to have certain expectations, maybe like 3 years out or 4 years out or 5 years out, because you need to allow these things to breathe on their own. There's nothing wrong with investing in them. There's nothing wrong with expecting profit from a studio. Nothing wrong with that whatsoever. How else are they going to survive? But if you rush it, if you don't allow a studio to be a studio, they're not going to make a good profit. And that's we've got all the proof we could ever need for that. Still have to play Baldur's Gate 3. You want to play the first two. I do too. I have it. But it does look really good. Might even watch someone Let's Play to get a taste of it like I'm doing with Hogwarts Legacy. Baldur's Gate 3 is really, really, really good. I haven't beaten it. I've only played like 65 hours, I think, 64, 65. And I haven't played in, a couple weeks. I've just been so busy. I'm all over the place. I'm a mess. I'm a freaking mess. It's really good. It's really good. There have been moments in that game where I have just gone, like sat back in my chair and just been like, I cannot believe they made this game. It is so freaking good. There's one moment, I won't spoil it, but there's one moment where you go to this grove and there's a little hidden area. I won't spoil it. And then all of a sudden there's this musical number, this beautiful song. And I was seriously just in awe. I was like, I cannot believe this is in this game. It looks great. The writing is great. It is so incredibly detailed. You can do practically anything you want. There's so many different strategies to defeat the enemies in the game. It's so good. You can tell they took their time with it. It's so well done. I would love to see them take this style of gameplay and maybe make like a World War II game or like a sci-fi space game, something like that. I think that would be cool. I think like a World War II game would be cool. Like if you were a team of spies and assassins, I think that would be really cool. But I recommend it. It's very good. Some people will, I will admit, there is, I hesitate to call it necessarily wokeness in the game. But you can basically try to have sex with whoever you want in the game. Is kind of how it is, right? You can start a sexual relationship or try to start a sexual relationship with pretty much anyone you want in the game. And there was an instance where I had a character of the same sex kind of coming on to me during a conversation when we were back at camp. Now, none of it feels like it's beating you over the head, though. The best way I could describe it is that it's presented in the game. They show you, here it is. If you want to participate, you can. And if not, you don't have to. It's just there, right? I personally think there's too much sex in entertainment these days, but you don't have to participate in it. It's a mature game. The violence is crazy too. The violence is great. The violence of the game is freaking great. It's awesome. But it's just kind of there. So if you want to do it, great. And if not, that's fine too. But it's a great game. At first, the bear sex part, that's what everyone, the bear sex part of the Baldur's Gate 3 trailer really put me off, A little too deviant for me, but at least there's a bunch of other options to choose from. Yeah, exactly. Hold on a second. That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. Yeah, I haven't actually. I think the part, uh, I think the part I got to with the bear. I don't know what I did to screw up that part of the narrative, but I ended up killing the guy who turns into a bear. We were fighting in a dungeon, and I don't know what I did, but he came at me, so I just started blasting. He came at me, bro. I don't know what you want me to do. I didn't call him gay or anything. I didn't call him a creep. I swear. But it's good. It's very good. Very good. Anyway, but yeah, Sven. So the bankers, and they when they got in, right? Because BlackRock, they basically what they do, they push the ESG hard, right? And that's Larry Fink. That's the guy who said that we have to control behaviors back in 2017. Said we have to control behaviors of basically all of society, and he BlackRock basically offers companies the cheapest money, the cheapest loans, as long as they put the ESG in their games. And now you're starting to see the BlackRock influence everywhere. Like they have their grubby little fingers in all of these studios. They get these studios to open up. And it's not just SBI. It's not just Sweet Baby Inc. who comes into these studios and starts screwing things up, right? These studios have, you saw these game developers, right? These are the people. This isn't just Sweet Baby Inc. These are the developers in the studios and everything. These people are everywhere. But then they get Sweet Baby Inc. to come in. And it's just toxic all around. It's just toxic all around. And it needs to change. And the way it's going to change is people voting with their wallets. Just like everything else, right? I mean, we could go into the Bud Light debacle. We could go into, what else? Target. I mean, now it's going to be, looks like Tyson Foods and Planet Fitness and everything. You have to vote for your wallet because these people speak in money. Because, again, they're bankers. They look at the bottom line, okay? And that's what we just saw with, we'll get into that. We'll get into that here in a second. We're going to talk about the Kotaku thing again, and Geo Media and all that. We'll get into that. But let's see what's next on my syllabus. Let me double check. So we opened with the Game Developers Conference stream, and I wanted to go in. I don't want to make this whole fucking stream about Sweet Baby Inc. and Kotaku and everything. I don't want to do that. There were a lot of trailers that dropped, so let's watch a trailer. Let's do that, huh? Let's have a little fun. My friend actually joined and soon became a moderator on the Sweet Baby Inc. Detected Discord server. Now that I remember, thought that was cool. That is cool. Is that the one where Alyssa Mercante tried to sneak in? Is that the one you're talking about? She tried to sneak in and she posted her real picture and her real name and was basically like, how do you do, fellow gamers? Why don't you guys post your real names? Does someone want to talk to me? That's the one. Yep, that's it. I don't know if I asked you, Florence, few questions, just because I want to be accurate and get to know people. First of all, I think I know, but I'm just asking. Man or woman? Or they? I don't care. Either way, I just want to be accurate when I'm addressing you. And where you at? City. I think I might have asked you that last time. Are you in the States or are you overseas or? Just trying to get to know you. A little bit. Doesn't matter to me. That's it. Man, rock and roll. Good man. Oh, shit, dude. Stay safe. Fuck, I don't want to get into it, but it's a shitstorm, man. Stay safe. Stay very safe. Stay armed. I don't have too many worries about that. You being a man from Texas, I don't worry about that too much. Shit, yeah. Oh, damn. Sorry. That was loud, and that was my fault. Damn, that was loud. Okay. But anyway, yeah, let's look at the trailer. This is I haven't seen the trailer. Yeah. I saw it in bits and pieces, but I'm going to have to watch this because I did the review for the first part, and God, it was a freaking nightmare. Such a terrible movie. And then we get this on April 19th, I think it is. April 19th or 20th. And then there is a 6-hour total extended edition. I think they said that Zack Snyder said he was going to release the extended editions back to back. Shit. I'm not going to watch that. But anyway, let's just jump into this. I'll pause it a few times. I don't know if I get copyright, whatever. But let's watch. Let me know if the volume's too loud or anything. Shit. Hold on. Sorry, I was adjusting the volume. Okay. All right. So lightsabers. Remember, this was Zack Snyder's idea for a Star Wars movie that he presented to Disney, and Disney thought it was so bad, they went, no. If Disney turned down your Star Wars idea, Zack Snyder, can you imagine what they must have thought of this? Jesus Christ. Oh.
You and I fighting together.
Anthony Hopkins.
You must know. You cannot win.
Okay.
You're all here. Because there is nothing
Right.
to return to.
There's the... Oh,
Dark
girl who's the key to everything.
days lie ahead of us all. We will teach you how to fight.
Okay.
That's impressive.
All right.
The Scar Givers.
Hold on a second. Wait a minute. This is like a tiny village on a moon. This is a tiny village on a moon. That in the first one they were like, no, we don't fight here. We don't do anything. We just grow crops. And they have the entirety of a galactic empire, an army coming down upon them, and they're going to train these people to fight against this God. So the whole premise of like Rebel Moon is that the original Rebel Moon is that, God, I can't even remember. I think my brain has compartmentalized that. This this galactic empire goes to this little moon outpost village and demands that they give them their grain so they can feed their military. And this village is like a few hundred people. And for some reason, all of their grain is supposed to feed an entire army, and it's worth fighting a battle over. And the main woman, Sophia, what's her name? Cora, used to fight for, the Emperor, and I don't know. And like all of these people used to fight, like Jimin Hensu, his character used to fight for the Empire, and now they've all scattered out throughout the galaxy, and Cora had to go find them all to form a little group of rebels, and then take those rebels to their moon so they could protect this village against an entire army who's trying to get their grain. Whatever. Slow motion. Plenty of slow motion. Okay. What the?
Those this village holds most dear.
Like, wouldn't you just fire from space? Like, why wouldn't you just bombard them from orbit? In the first movie, they went to I can't remember the name of the planet where it had King What's-His-Face, but that planet, they nuked. They landed, they beat the shit out of some people, and then when they left, they nuked the place. Why don't you just nuke these people from orbit? I understand that you don't want to destroy the grain. The grain. This is so fucking stupid. I can't process this right now. I'm still under the influence of ketamine. I wish. Just fire. Just open fire. Like, you're not going to destroy all the grain. Like with a giant photon blaster, like the big blaster that they had on the ship at the end of the ending fight in the first one. I'm sure you have dozens of those. Just open fire.
I should destroy them.
Do you...
I have no choice.
What is this whole thing with people in these movies who have guns not shooting their guns? Like, there's probably like half a dozen guys down there, and the one guy that did shoot wasn't even shooting at him. He just kept firing straight.
I have no choice
Anthony Hopkins robot.
but to fight.
I mean, that didn't look awful. Lightsabers. Oh, shit. I don't know if I'm going to get hit for music. I don't care. Whatever.
Scargiver herself.
Oh, boy. Yeah, Scargiver.
Are you truly prepared to allow this to continue in your name?
This other thing with the music these days in movies, the music these days is so fucking boring and bad. It's so boring. It's just they take all of these older rock songs, and this is a not Soundgarden. Who is it? Audioslave. This is an Audioslave song, and so it's not that old. But they've been taking a bunch of old music, and then they make it like this big dramatic version. No one has any creativity anymore. No one. Everything is being recycled. Ideas are being recycled. IPs are being recycled. Music is being recycled. Nobody has any creativity in the entertainment industry anymore. And that's another enormous reason it's collapsing, right? And there's not even, I don't think, a ton of ideology or anything in this, other than like girl boss, right? That's it. It's just not creative, and it's just poorly executed. It's just crap. Saw the first Rebel Moon. I enjoyed the first and third acts for what they were, but the second act really dragged. And I do agree with the criticisms. I noticed a lot of them watching the movie. Yeah, I don't... It's just the story is so stupid. I think, and there's too much slow motion, there just needs to... The whole story was like, big fight here, big fight here, big fight here, big fight here. Like, go here, do this thing. Go here, do this thing. Go here, do this thing. And that was basically it. And it was just pieces like that just kind of thrown together. Zack Snyder just needs to have someone who can rein him in. I'm not saying he doesn't have talent. He's got some talent. He has a creative vision, but he needs people to help him focus that creative vision. Because when he's allowed to do just whatever he wants, it's all over the place, right? It's just all over the place. But if he's got someone who's written a good script, if he has a good cinematographer, if he's got people around him who know what they're doing, it seems like he can harness that well. He can delegate things well if he has talented people around him. But if he is allowed to just his own devices, he can't make anything. It's like his brain. He's too scatterbrained. It's kind of like me. He's too scatterbrained. His mind is going a million different places at once, and he wants to put it all into the movie, and he can't decide what to do, and he thinks it's all going to look really cool in slow motion, and he puts way too much slow motion, and then he slows down the slow motion. And it seemed like in the first Rebel Moon, it seemed like a lot of the slow motion was taking the place of where some better narrative should have been. And I think that maybe he just didn't. I just don't think he's that good of a writer. And I think he just used slow motion to make it seem like it was better than it really was. So, I don't know. Speaking of songs being made into lame versions of themselves, not really a fan of the remixed Banana Boat song for the Beetlejuice 2 trailer. I haven't watched that trailer. We'll watch that one. We'll watch that one. Hold on. Let me, we'll watch that one in a bit, but let me write it first, because otherwise I'll fucking forget. Okay. Just a reminder for myself, because I will fucking forget. Okay, let's continue with this.
I'm sorry. I won't allow this place to die for me.
Okay. Like this thing right here, like it's big and dramatic and everything. If a piece like this, if a scene like this is cleverly put into a good story, it doesn't have to be an Oscar-worthy movie. It really doesn't. It just has to make sense. It just has to be a well-structured story. And then you can throw pieces like this in here every once in a while, and it'll look really cool, and people will appreciate it more. All right. There it is. Scargiver, Part 2. Okay, there it is. April 19th. Fantastic. Wonderful. Great. Grand. Wonderful. Oh, Lord. Not help that they add epic. Yeah, that's it. Epic booming to artificially emphasize the epicness, if you can call it that. I fucking hate it when they do that. Yes. Because they're not creative enough to make their own epicness or epic song or epic video, epic anything. They're just, it's all member berries, right? It's like, oh, people really like this, but I got to change it. I'll make it epic. Big drums, booming horns, a bunch of crazy sound effects. Slow it down a little bit. Have some synthesized strings going da da da. Bunch of booming drums and whatnot. Oh, jeez. And look, okay, I said this in the first. I'm going to go back and watch the first part of this trailer real quick. I said this in my review of the first movie. I don't know the main character. Okay, the main character, Cora, is played by a woman named Sofia Boutella. I don't know anything about Sofia Boutella. She may be the nicest person in the world, and I really hope that she is, and I hope she's doing well and everything. I have nothing against her personally, but it does not look like she can be in an action role. She doesn't move very well. She moves very slow. You can clearly see that the stunt guys around her are doing all of the work, and they are slowing down all of their actions to compensate for her. And you can tell they changed the camera angles and the fighting style and everything. It's just, it just doesn't look great. Okay? Nothing against her personally. It just does not look very good. And you'll see, watch this little action sequence. They're moving slow. Watch where the guys fire their guns. Watch how they hold their guns. Watch how they kind of hesitate for a moment to allow her to move into position. Like guys behind her may not grab her or do anything like that. They have opportunities to take her out and don't. Just fire your gun. What are you waiting for? Like, all right, let's just watch it one more time. Say, these two guys, this guy kind of just like, both of them were standing right freaking where the laser sword guy is right now, and could have just opened fire, and they didn't. They're just running at her, not firing. And see how he hesitates? He's got to knock it away, and then he... She's just not built to do this kind of role. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's wrong when you put her... excuse me. It's wrong when it looks like this. I always thought Olivia Thirlby from Dread. Yeah, dude, Dread is yeah. Should have been in more movies. Really love Dread, especially her character. Yeah, that was a good movie, dude. 2012, Carl Urban. That was an action movie done right. Is that the one you're talking about? Yeah, that Dread. I haven't seen that movie in a while. The one with Lena Headey. All right, screw this. I haven't seen Old Boy, but I feel like a lot of directors try copying the hallway fight scene sequence without actually considering how all of the gang members are supposed to move in the scene. Yeah, that's one of the most famous fight scenes of all time. That fight scene, the hallway fight scene from Old Boy, and the hallway fight scene from Daredevil are done very, very, very well. Very well. Only time I've seen it done right was in there you go. There it is. Daredevil first season was, God, that was so good. Here's how good Daredevil was. We sat down to watch it the first time. My wife, you know how at the beginning of Marvel, the opening screen, they have like the Marvel logo flipping through and everything. My wife went, "Oh God, is this a comic book show?" And I said, "Give it a minute. Let's just give it a chance." She loved it. She loved it. And of course, they'll never make anything like that again. Good fucking job. God, we can't have nice things. Okay, so there's that. I mean, it basically looks a lot like the first one. I expect probably a lot more of the same. So I can't wait to review that. By the way, I am working on a review for the original Crow right now. I'm in the middle of writing that script, and I'm going to try to have that out very soon. I was able to recover a lot of files from my Mask of Zorro review, and it's just a mess. That thing's going to take forever. I don't know what the fuck happened. That one's going to take a while, but the Crow one should be out sooner rather than later. So I'm going to make a review of that. I'm going to review the newer one when it releases in June, and then I'll probably later in the year make like a comparison video, because the first one is so good. And when you watch, I've been watching documentaries on this to get some more background on it. And the people, when they made that movie, they put so much heart and passion and love into that movie. And if you don't know the story behind the guy, O'Barr, James O'Barr, I think it's James O'Barr, the guy who created the character in the comic book. Boy, dude, what a story. That is a story that came out of real pain and struggle and a real journey of life. And it's a wonder. It's a tragic story that was beautifully captured, wonderfully captured in this comic. This guy took all of his pain and all of his love and all of his emotion and everything, and he just poured it into his art. And that's what you get. The comic, one of the most, a cult classic, both in the comic and the movie. That's what you get. It's beautiful. So we're going to get that. Okay. Let's, Last Jedi and this are the worst examples off the top of my head, yeah, with how fight scenes are poorly done. If you pay close attention to Dark Knight Rises, it's pretty mediocre there too. Yeah, Dark Knight Rises, my brain has erased not Dark Knight Rises, but The Last Jedi. I barely remember what the fuck happens in that movie. But the Dark Knight Rises, the Dark Knight Rises is considerably worse than Batman Begins and The Dark Knight. If you don't believe me, just don't believe me or Florence here, then just go watch the trilogy, and you'll be like, oh boy, this really fell off. It feels like they kind of had to slap it together a little bit because of the untimely death of Heath Ledger. Rest in peace. We all know what happened there, and it feels like they really had to make a big turn at the last minute, obviously. That's what I kind of feel. It's just, I don't know. It's just kind of sloppy. Yeah, that's probably the best way I can describe it. I'd love The Crow for being a simple revenge story, but I love it even more because it has a really hopeful view of humanity if you pay attention. A lot of movies miss that these days, unfortunately. Yeah, it's a story about redemption. It's a story about love, the triumph of love over evil. And you're right, we don't get those stories anymore. We don't get those stories anymore. It's all nihilism. It's all, death and nothing matters, and it's dark and bleak. A good comparison of this would be Lord of the Rings, friendship, hope, love, good versus evil, versus Game of Thrones. Everybody dies. There's nothing. There's only death, and when you die, it's just black. Love doesn't matter. Friendship doesn't matter. Everyone dies. Everyone's going to kill everyone else. Blah. And that's what all the stories are like these days. And you got to wonder where that comes from. And I think it just comes from a general lack of morals and values and traditions. Also noticed a small detail that I loved in The Crow. The first words you hear Shelley say after she's been assaulted and dying is Eric, if Eric is still alive, to take care of Sarah. I just watched it last. Oh, was it last Sunday? Yeah, last Sunday afternoon. And it's the fact that she still cared about that little girl even after being put through the worst shit. That's really heartbreaking, right? Because that was her. Wasn't that her sister? Wasn't that her sister in the movie? I thought it was. Because they changed from the comic book, they actually changed the names of the characters, and they changed like one or two of the relationship dynamics. Nothing like super crazy, but I think it was her. I think they might have changed, or it was her sister in the movie. Because Sarah was just a girl who lived in the apartment with Shelley and Eric. Okay, because they showed up, and the reason I'm saying that is because when Ernie Hudson, his police officer character, Albrecht, is at the scene and the girl comes up and someone said sister, and I think maybe Albrecht had asked her if that was her sister or something. That's what it is. Albrecht asked her, is like that your sister? And she's like, no, it's just some people who take care of me. That's what it was. Yep, you're right. You're right. That's exactly what it was. Yep. Forgot what I was talking about. Whatever. What do we got next on the list? Let me see. Shit. I don't know, man. So I'll get into a little bit of, I know what I was going to talk about. Hold on a second. I know exactly what I was going to talk. Okay, I'm going to jump into it here. I'm going to take a quick restroom break. I'm just going to take a piss real quick. I'll be right back, and then we'll jump into it. Be right back. Oh, I was going to recommend the trailers for Beetlejuice 2 and Alien Romulus. I'll tell you what. Let's do the Beetlejuice 2 trailer, and then I'll jump into the other bullshit. Let's do that. Sounds like a plan. Florence, what do you do? What do you do for a living? Or do you go to school? What do you do? Did I ask you this last time? I don't remember. Don't give away your... You don't have to give away your actual employer or anything, this, that, or the other. What do you do? Oh, let's see. Beetle. There it is right there. Beetlejuice, all right, Beetlejuice. Is this the one? Yeah, 2 days ago. Okay. Okay. Warner Brothers. Again, I'll have to pause it. Okay, let's check it out. Beetlejuice 2. Here's the song from the original. Interesting. Okay, pause it. Okay, so got the original song. Got the original characters. Some of them looks like the original attic. Looks like the original location. Yep. Yep, there it is. The original model from the first one. Boy, she really... Who is that? That's not a... What's her face? That's not Winona Ryder. But I've been pretty successful with my arts of art. Cool beans, man. If you have some place where I can see your art, let me know. Let me know. Like if you're drawing or whatever. If you've got anything where I can see your art, let me know. It is Winona Ryder. Wow. Really? There it is.
The juice is loose.
Yeah, it is. That's her. All right. Yeah. God, I hope that's so good. I hope that is so good. The first one is so freaking great. The first one is such a classic. God, I hope that's good. That's not bad. Not bad. You know what I like about that trailer? They capture the energy, they capture everything about the first one, and they don't show you too much, because all of these trailers these days, they're practically showing you the entire movie. Like the one for the Crow, they show you a lot. Every trailer. This is good. This is a well done, subdued trailer. This is well done. It looks good. It's got good imagery. Shows you it's a bit of an update from the last one, but it's still holding on to all the stuff that kind of made the first one. Michael Keaton's great. I thought that was a good trailer. That was a good trailer. It is Winona Ryder. It sure is. I need a freaking haircut. So freaking bad. Cool. I like that. Was that the only one that came out? Oh, no.
It's strange being back here. So many memories.
That's her.
This place is so mysterious, yet strangely familiar.
The secrets of this house go beyond the living and the dead. It feels like I've...
It's good. I'll definitely watch it for Jenna Ortega. She's my Hollywood crush right now. Same with Anya Taylor-Joy and Isabella Merced. Yeah, I kind of... If I had to pick one of those three, it would be Sydney Sweeney. That's my answer. Think this one's a fake trailer. Oh, really? I think you're right. I think you're right. Full trailer, 11 days. Yeah. This must be the only one that's been released yet, because this looks like the exact same as the first one, which is fine. I thought that was a really good trailer. I thought they did a good job there. Yeah, this is the same one. Cool. Oh, I've been crushing on Sydney Sweeney hard lately, too. Hard being the key word, am I right? God damn it. Yeah. You know, maybe I should just do what everyone else is doing and just put a picture of Sydney Sweeney in my thumbnail. Maybe I'll get 1 million views. That was a good trailer. I like that. I am excited to see that. It's coming out right before Halloween. I wonder why they didn't release it like the first week of October. September 6th, it said. I would have liked to have seen that like in October. But whatever. It's right there. My favorite season, fall. It's great. That's awesome. I like that a lot. Nice subdued trailer. Need more of that. Just a tease, you know, just a little tease. And it's not a trailer that has a trailer at the beginning of the trailer, which is a thing for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know. Maybe it has something to do with attention spans these days. Okay. One thing I know I definitely wanted to talk about. So, and this, I get it. It's the Sweet Baby Ink thing. This won't take long. I say that, but then I'm going to get into it. This shouldn't take long, okay? Where am I at? Okay, so we know about Cabrutus on Steam, and I'm not going to rehash the whole fucking thing. I'm not. We know about Cabrutus on Steam, who has made the Sweet Baby Ink page, right? Where they're just compiling a list of all the Sweet Baby Ink games, and that's it. That's all they're doing, right? Just so you know what games they've worked on, so you know what you don't want to buy. I think that all of these woke journalists are now starting to compile a list of creators. And I know something else. I know another list came out not too long ago, but these woke journalists, these Kotakus, these PC gamers, the Sweet Baby Ink people, and all of their friends are now compiling a list of people like Melanie Mack and people like Cabrutus and probably people like Grums, and I'm sure everyone at Geeks and Gamers and whatnot, and everyone else in the same sphere. And I think they're going to compile this list. They're going to make up a whole bunch of bullshit, and then they're going to send it to the federal government. And I'm not kidding about that. So if we let's just go over a few things real quick. It seems like this is Hypnotic on Twitter. It seems like Kotaku writer and soon-to-be ex-writer Alyssa Mercante has found her calling. She is now going to focus on harassment campaigns against YouTubers, specifically starting with Melanie Mack. Get ready for more lies and nonsense coming from Alyssa to deflect how god-awful of a human being she is. And then Alyssa Mercante's tweet, also, if you personally know any decently popular gaming personalities / streamers who have been on a meteoric rise in popularity shortly after adapting more reactionary views, email me. There's a story I've been simmering that I really want to pick back up again. If anyone has any connections to a prominent female Twitch streamer / gaming personality who leans very hard into Christianity and homophobia, DM me or email me at the link below or in bio. Okay, so the latter tweet right there, that is obviously referring to Melanie Mack. The former tweet, also, if you personally know any decently popular gaming personality streamers who have been meteoric rise in popularity shortly after adapting more reactionary views, email me. So, what is she saying there? So, let's see. More reactionary views. Okay? So, stuff that they would consider, I don't know, stuff they consider right-wing, extremist, MAGA propaganda and the like. You know, all that crap. Anything that disagrees with them, basically. Right? Anyone who is making fun of them, anyone who is making fun of Sweet Baby Ink, anyone on that side, that's who they're talking about. anyone who is gaining popularity, a meteoric rise in popularity. So basically what they're doing, I genuinely think they're just trying to do their own list, their own version of a list. And then, of course, they're going to send it to the ADL and Congress and the Department of Homeland Security and the FBI. And there's a whole bunch of these, right? I mean, oh, that's the same one. You know, and we've seen these. The feds are coming for extremist gamers. I mean, this has been happening for a few years now, because right here you see it, social media in 2018. I think that's what they're going to do. And I haven't had a chance to really kind of sit and think about what that will lead to, but we've seen the all-out assault on all of our rights here in the States. We've seen the all-out assault on, we could go into basically every right and every amendment and everything, but the First Amendment is clearly under assault. And I wonder if this could probably, I wonder if they will use this in conjunction with what they are trying to do with the TikTok ban, because they basically gave themselves power to strike down any websites that they think are working with, how did they word it? With basically a hostile country, right? Like if they say you're basically being hostile against the United States, they can shut you down, is what they're going for. So I'm trying to think. I don't know if there'd be a direct link there, but I'm not sure. I'm really not a fan of Melanie Mac or G&G, but I definitely think the Sweet Baby Inc. stuff is a bigger fish to fry. It seems this company is just a bunch of sadists, if you ask me. Yeah, they're a bunch of freaks. They're a bunch of weirdos. And I know Alyssa Mercante is, I know she wasn't working at Sweet Baby Inc. Unless she was, I don't know. Oh, God, I'm so sorry. But the standards for employment in modern gaming journalism, courtesy of Kotaku's senior editor, Alyssa Mercante. I'm just going to go back to sex work because at least then when I get fucked, I'll get paid well for it. Happy International Whores Day. I used to be a cam girl. Sex work is work. You're not a fucking feminist if your feminist doesn't include sex workers, you absolute toenail. On God, if I ever get fired, I'm going back to bartending and sex work. Fuck this industry. These are the kind of people in this industry now. These are, quote, journalists. And these are the same people that work at Sweet Baby Inc. Make no mistake. Okay? These people believe in nothing other than pushing their message. They believe in nothing other than pushing their message. Look, if you want to, I am certainly not a fan of OnlyFans, right? If you want to work on OnlyFans, I don't care, okay? But just to go around and tout it and act like prostitution is something to be proud of, I think this is how we get a degradation of society, right? Just to throw it out there, to say you were a games journalist and that you're doing they don't believe in God, so I won't say God's work, but to say that you're fighting for good and justice and truth and everything, none of these people have proven to me that they have any morals or values. Now we can make the argument, say, well, their morals and values don't just align with yours. That's all. Fair point. But these people believe themselves to be some kind of like God-like figure. And I'll explain. Like, imagine thinking selling your body for sex is a better option than just doing your job. I couldn't have said that better. Absolutely. Yes, 100%. So this person, that's brilliant. That's beautiful. This person was asked to do this. So let's just go over it real quick, okay? Let's just jump into this here. So here's the quick rundown on Kotaku. Jen Glennon, editor-in-chief, tweets she has resigned. Mad Kotaku writers spill the beans. They must dump news and write gaming guides. Okay, I'm glad that you brought... this is good. Okay. and write gaming guides. Former Kotaku head Nathan Grayson tells us even with just 7 writers left, they must churn out 50 guides per week. Okay, so, and basically, I made a video on this yesterday. It's about 18 minutes long where I go into this. Basically, what's going on is G&O Media, who owns Kotaku, they came in and they said, we're done with the opinion pieces. We're done with the activism. We're done with the politics. Stop, okay? You need to start writing game guides. And what they said is they need 50 game guides a week. And what it seems like is that they gave them some crazy number of guides to make every week to try to get them to quit rather than fire them. It seems to have worked. But again, here, this is on Twitter. You know what? This is Levi L. Winslow. You know what? Fuck it. Here's a small cup of tea. Management doesn't even care about the quality of the guides. They want us to aggregate them from other sites like a literal content mill. That they're destroying people's livelihood gags me, not in a good way. God, they're so fucking weird, man. Someone at the top told us to just get guides done because the AV Club watches full seasons of a show and still produces their stories. That alone is proof they don't understand what they do. I don't think you guys understand what you do. I don't think you have any idea. But so management asked them, said, you guys need to go get back to gaming. And you don't even have to actually, like, it doesn't even sound like they actually had to play the games. It sounds like they just had to go out on the internet, aggregate some good guides, and just put them on the website. Call me crazy, but I stand by my hypothesis that talking every single day about binary us versus them politics, making it every part of your personality actually contributes a lot to depression. We'll get into that too. We'll get into that. I got an article about that right here, but we'll get into that. One thing at a time. So they were asked to do their job. They were asked to do their job, and they have had a meltdown. And like you said, rather than actually do their job, they decided to quit and go sell themselves for sex. And they've been having a meltdown just expecting everyone to, I don't know, have sympathy for them. And nobody has. No one. Everyone on Twitter has just been going wild. I don't know if I had that one brought up, but everyone on Twitter has just been destroying them. Like, nobody is on their side. Nobody. Everyone's just like, bye. Go sell yourself for sex. Good luck. And the truth is, I highly doubt this woman makes very good money selling herself for sex. It was something like 2% of all OnlyFans creators make like 50% of the money or some shit like that. I don't know. It reminds me of that one girl from years back who cried about not being able to make money on Instagram, that she has to get into sex work because she doesn't want to work at McDonald's. It's sad as fuck. It is. It's very sad. It's part of this is part of cultural Marxism, right? This is what happens when you don't have a society built on strong morals and values and traditions. Now, I'm going to get into this a little bit, but, okay. You have to believe in something more powerful than yourself. You have to believe in a higher power. Now, I'm not saying that you have to believe in this God or that God or whatever. You believe whatever God or whatever power, whatever you want to believe in. I'm not going to hit you over the head with the Bible. Nothing like that. All are welcome here. I don't want to exclude anyone except for commies and pedophiles. Sometimes they're the same thing. You believe whatever you want, but to not admit that there's something more powerful in the universe than yourself is to believe yourself a god. And when you have a set of morals and values and traditions, and I will use what is the Bible, right? I'm not pushing Christianity. It's a story. It's just a story, right? It's just a story to kind of teach you how to live a life. people who just take it as a guide to life say, oh, look at the 10 Commandments. You know, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not kill, honor thy mother and father, and so on and so forth, right? It's morals and values that have been passed down. It's something to look up to. It's a story to look up to. Lord of the Rings could be a wonderful example of friendship and love and fighting for what is good, no matter the odds, right? It's something that's been passed down based off of an idea of something better, that we can be better. That's the foundation. That's the tradition, right? They don't believe in that. They believe that they are the best ever, just as they are, right? We see it with the characters they write. The Mary Sues. There is no hero's journey anymore. They're already 100% good at everything all the time, right? You don't have to change. You don't have to fight to get better. You're just as good as you are. You don't need to change. You are wonderful just the way you are. You're good, and the only problem is not everyone has realized it yet, so you have to force them to realize it. You have to force them to realize how good you are at everything. You don't have to strive to get better. You're good enough as you are. You're the best there ever was, there ever will be. Damn right. Because they believe they don't have tradition. They don't have morals. They don't have values that allow them to strive to get better. They don't think they have to get better. They don't. And anytime you criticize them and say, you know what, you might want to get better, they call you a bigot. You know, you might want to work a little harder on this. You can't criticize them, or you're called a bigot. They believe they're the bestest ever. I'm trying to get more into the Bible. Haven't been practicing for 26 years of my life, but my favorite passage is Proverbs. There's so much wisdom to be gained from that one book alone. By book, I mean Proverbs. Oh, yes. God, I haven't read the Bible. And even if you're not a Christian, you should read the Bible. You really should. It is a story, right? And so if you read the Bible, you will understand a lot more about the Western world, because so much of what we do is based off of it. It's just a story. Just read it. Okay? You don't have to go in there, and you don't have to, it's not going to automatically convert you. If it does, okay, whatever. Then if it does, then it had some kind of profound effect on your life. And that's good. But if not, it's just a story. Just read it as a story, right? And you'll get something out of it. But they don't think, they don't believe in God. Okay, they don't believe in a higher power. They think they are the higher power, and they want to be worshipped. Notice this is all them demanding to be worshipped. They don't really want to be equal. They want to be worshipped. They want you to bow down at the altar of them. And they don't have standards. They want to tear down the standards of Western society, because a lot of them aren't good enough to live up to those standards and be successful in a marketplace of open and free ideas, right? So I said this in the video yesterday. In a true open marketplace of ideas and creativity, they would fail. And they are failing. That's why they want the government to force you to accept them. Because they know if it was truly just all equal, everyone just open up the marketplace, everyone throw your product out there, you wouldn't select their product. You aren't selecting their product. And they know it. And they can't stand it. They know deep down inside they cannot stand that they aren't as good as other people, right? They may be good at something else. Maybe she's great at sex work. I don't know. I don't really care. but she's not good at gaming. She's not good at journalism. And for some reason, they see this as a stepping stone, by the way. They don't give a fuck about gaming. They don't give a shit about any of this stuff. They see this as a stepping stone to getting a job at like the Washington Post or the New York Times so they can talk about politics. That's what they want. It's exactly what they want. They just see this as the next step, right? They do not care about gaming. They're not good at it. If they actually, look how they're breaking down. Look how they're freaking out. They actually have to do something for the job that they were actually hired to, and they know they can't. And they can't stand it. They can't stand the idea that they might not be good at something. Because their whole lives, they have been told how good they are and how special they are. And, oh, they're just the most beautiful little flower. And they've been given trophies their entire life and awards even every time they fucking fall on their face. Oh, it's okay. We'll give you a lollipop anyway. It's fine. And they expect all of life to be like that. They want to live a life without consequences. And, the only consequence they ever want to receive is positive. And again, being an adult means accepting the consequences of your actions, accepting responsibility. And they don't want to do that because they think they're a god. It's so fucked up. But then there's, so this was the G&O Media, the top editor quits. G&O Media was the people who did the whole Kotaku thing. But then I came across... I came across this. So I'm going to go into this because I actually didn't see this. Kotaku owners G&O Media reportedly backed down from fully shifting site from news to guides after editor-in-chief resigns. Staff pushback. So it sounds like maybe they're taking the foot off of that gas a little bit. In barely recovering from what seemed, and honestly still seems, like the first step of a funeral procession for the infamous bad faith video game news website, Kotaku owners G&O Media have reportedly backed down from their desire to pivot the site's content away from news stories and towards generic video games after facing a rash of backlash from its staff. Okay? This tumultuous situation with Kotaku's offices was first made public on March 21st when the site's now former editor-in-chief, Jen Glennon, announced her resignations from the outlet via Twitter. I've resigned from Kotaku and called him an herb, whatever the fuck that means. Though at the time, the exact reasons for her resignation were unclear. According to her resignation letter, as sent to Spanfeller and his fellow G&O Media exec, Leah Goldman, and later obtained, Glennon chose to cut ties with the Kotaku in protest of a reported desire by its owner to shift the site's content away from news and towards generic video game guides, ostensibly those which are meant to simply SEO bait, like how to change classes and drive Dogma 2, or how to find Cloud's best weapon. Okay. Let's see if we can get to the meat of this. So, yeah, she criticized them and everything. Kotaku staff will be expected to create 50 game guides a week. Let's see. Destroying livelihoods. However, it seems this extreme pivot was short-lived. As per Kotaku editor Alyssa Mercante, following Glennon's resignation and the resulting outrage from site staff over the new editorial focus, Kotaku staff had a somewhat productive meeting with management, and thus readers can expect news to continue coming from us, at least for now. Really? Your support and voices certainly help, she added. So, thank you. Okay. As of this writing, it is unknown just how much of the site will remain dedicated to the news and how much of it will shift its attentions to guides. Okay. So, I guess we can... Hold on. Where's it at? Oh, shit. I thought I had it up. I guess we can look forward to more articles like this. We are now entering the Animal Crossing butt plug stage of 2020. This is a real article on Kotaku's website, written back in July 1st, 2020, about butt plugs while playing Animal Crossing. So we can look forward to more hard-hitting journalism like this. There's only two things I really want from game journals: game guides and unedited interviews from developers. Everything else is just worthless to me, pretty much. And I noticed you didn't say reviews, and everyone gets their reviews from YouTubers now. Yeah. I mean, everything's over on YouTube now because they want to see real people playing the game, right? Real gamers playing the game, which makes sense. Get this off my fucking screen. Jesus Christ. It's like, what? Like, I genuinely don't even know what to say. I really don't. I really don't. You're bitching and whining and moaning. And here's the other thing, just while I'm thinking about it, and then we'll get off of this. I promise. I know. And then we'll get off of this. This younger generation, these people like this, they're so hypersexualized. They are so focused on sex all the freaking time. All the time. She's going back to sex work. She's talking about butt plugs. They have to talk about your sexuality. Who do you sleep with? Are you trans? Are you bi? Are you gay? Are you lesbian? Are you non-binary? Are you this? Are you that? Why are you non-binary? Oh, so I can sleep with whoever I want and not feel guilty about it. They are so obsessed with sex. And it's so messed up. And it's because, and I think we've talked about this before, it's because when you are hyper-focused, when you are in a hypersexualized state of mind, you are in a very vulnerable state of mind. You are emotionally and mentally all over the place. So it's easy to throw you off. It's easy to take advantage of you. It's easy to manipulate you. And that's what they want. Okay. Let's get off it. Let's get off it. I know. Oh, speaking of which. Yeah. As you had mentioned, where was your comment? Call me crazy, but I stand by my hypothesis that talking every single day about binary us versus them, politics, making it every part of your personality actually contributes a lot to depression. Yes. And speaking of which, the New York Post on March 17th said, woke people, or wrote an article, woke people more likely to be unhappy, anxious, and depressed, a new study suggests. Did I read this last time? Oh, no, I guess not. It especially is friggin' hilarious when the same person is supportive of sex work with women, but complains about the male gaze as if women in porn aren't still appealing to men's gazes. Yeah. Yeah. So, like, to your point, is she only going to do sex work for women? With women? If a guy shows up on her OnlyFans and says, I got $100, babe, here you go, is she going to reject it? Of course not. Of course she won't. Of course not. She does not have the courage of her convictions. Absolutely not. I've had an idea kind of similar to that, where I wonder, all of these people who say, it's like, I don't want anything to do with men again, especially like white men. Brr, I don't want anything to do with them. I don't need their help. I am a strong woman. I can do whatever I want on my own. I don't need men in my life. I say, okay, then here's what you should do. Every time you interact with a man, just turn around, walk away. If you walk into a store and there's a white guy working at the cash register, you can't interact. Turn around, walk out. If you get a flat tire, tow truck shows up, and it's a dude, you can't accept his help. You don't want anything to do with men? Fine. Then reject their help. If you can do it on your own, then do it. Put your money where your mouth is. And I guess see how your life goes, I suppose. Maybe it improves. I don't know. See what happens. We'll see what happens. But yeah. And they don't even realize they're thinking like this. They really don't. They just want to slam their fist on the table, and they'll make the argument that's convenient for them right then and there. And if it contradicts something that they said 2 seconds ago, they don't care. Then they'll start arguing for that. And if it contradicts and so on and so forth, they don't care. Because if you disagree and you criticize, you're a bigot. And that's it. That's their logic. So maybe this article can shed some light on that. So Woke people more likely to be unhappy, anxious, and depressed. New study suggests. Is ignorance bliss? Psychological researchers in Finland have created an assessment to help measure an individual's commitment to principles of social justice and made some surprising findings across the Finnish population, including a negative correlation between progressive ideals and levels of happiness. Their findings, published in the Scandinavian Journal of Psychology, suggest other Western nations may see similar patterns across their socially conscious citizens. Excuse me. Study author Oskari Latinen, a senior researcher at the Invest Research Flagship Center at the University of Turku, remarked that the woke discourse has since worked its way into Finnish discourse. This debate was largely data-free, and it could thus be considered a worthwhile question to study how prevalent these attitudes are, he continued. No reliable and valid instrument existed prior to the study to assess the extent and prevalence of these attitudes in different populations, so I set out to develop one. Okay, let's see. Okay, here we go. Here's the meat. The pilot survey included 851 adult participants, most of whom were associated with the University of Turku. After refining the initial scale, the study was expanded to a more representative national sample of 5,000 participants, distributed via Helsingin Sanomat, Finland's largest newspaper. In the end, their final critical social justice attitude scale, their final critical social justice attitude scale, God, it just sounds awful, identified 7 truisms of woke people. This is interesting. If white people have on average a higher level of income than black people, it's because of racism. University reading lists should include fewer white or European authors. Microaggressions should be challenged often and actively. Trans women who compete with women in sports are not helping women's rights. Reverse scored. We don't need to talk more about the color of people's skin. Really? We don't need to talk more about the color of people's skin. It seems to be the only thing that woke people care about. Is the color of skin, or what's between your legs, or who you sleep with. It seems to be the only thing they care about. A white person cannot understand how a black person feels equally well as another black person. Okay. Probably not, no. I don't understand what it feels like to be any other human being. I will never understand that completely. I will never understand that entirely. But you know what the great thing about stories is? We can all identify with universal human stories. You know, like a real journey of struggle and pain and triumph. Maybe like Lord of the Rings, maybe. You know, it's not like it's been translated into like 45 different languages and is the best-selling book of all time, like after the Bible and everything. And there's that, I mean, it's in like every country on planet Earth, practically. And why is that? It's because everyone can identify with the journey, the story of friendship and hope and love. A member of a privileged group can adopt features or cultural elements of a less privileged group. That's a truism. A member of a privileged group can adopt features or cultural elements of a less privileged group. So is that their way of saying, what's the word? I can't even. Appropriating? Cultural appropriation? Microaggressions, reading too hard into what people say and somehow perceiving something negative about it in innocuous remark. Yes, that is so true. It is their own. I'm sorry, I'm still recovering from the ketamine treatment yesterday. I'm sorry. It's their own projection. They're projecting their own bullshit onto you. That's exactly what it is. You're exactly right. Microaggressions, like they're so discombobulated in their emotions and their mind that they just assume you're being negative. They just assume you're being mean. Your words are violence. It's interesting they always say, like, your words are violence. Why are you always thinking about violence? Like, why do you always assume everything is violence? It's almost like you're obsessed with violence. The gender divide was probably most surprising to me. Latinin told SciPost of Finnish Attitudes. 3 out of 5 women view woke ideas positively, but only 1 out of 7 men. Oh. Woke white women are destroying society. Woke white women are destroying society. Like, woke white Karens have to be the most hated people in Western civilization. Nobody likes them. Nobody wants to deal with their bullshit. They're always complaining. They're always trying to tell people how to live their lives. And, yeah, 3 out of 5 women. God damn it. Repeal the 19th. What'd he say? What's wrong with him? Like that teenage girl skit from Family Guy. Hey, are you going to English class? Sure, I'll see you there. It says something. Yeah. It's a incredible level of narcissism, right? To think that someone is so focused on damaging you, right? Oh my God, I'm under attack. I'm under personal attack. No, you're not. You're not that important. You are not nearly as important as you think you are. The world does not revolve around you. The entire world is not conspiring against you. It's not. Nobody. No. We aren't having meetings to make your life miserable. You have to be constantly trying to prove how good you are as a person. Yes. Right. Constantly walking on eggshells and getting into that virtue signaling, right? That's why you see it everywhere. It's like, oh, I don't want to be guilty of a microaggression. No. No. I've got to prove to them. I'll wave my little flag and I'll put my pronouns in my bio. It's like they know I'm an ally. Yes, I'm an ally. Please, I swear to God, it's not a microaggression. I swear I'm not angry at you. And it gets back to they want to be worshipped. It's a startling level of narcissism and ego. Like, get over yourself. Nobody cares about your story about butt plugs. And if we criticize your story about butt plugs, it's not because we're sexist. It's not because of patriarchy. It's not because of racism or homophobia or anything like that. You're getting paid to write stories about video games, and yet you wrote a story about butt plugs. Why? What is your fucking problem? Oh my God, a microaggression. You're fucking fired. Get out. Jesus. Yeah. Yeah, get out. It's like you're fucking fired. It's unbelievable. And it's designed that way. Society is designed that way to make people narcissist and egotistical, right? So we're constantly in this fight or flight. We're constantly in this fight or flight mentality, right? Someone's attacking me. Oh no, I can't win this argument. I got to run away. I can't sit and have a conversation. I can't try to figure this out with a discussion. I either run away, I throw up my hands and run away, or it's time to fight. There's no nuance. There's no room for discussion. That's exactly what it's designed to do. That's what it's doing. And the most emotionally and mentally unstable of us, this is what happens. This is what happens. And yes, absolutely, there's an enormous mental health crisis in this world right now. And this is a perfect example of it. So, let's see. However, the most concerning finding was the relationship between mental health and agreement with the scale. Specifically, researchers found a high prevalence of anxiety and depression in people who believe the statement, if white people have on average a higher income than black people, it is because of racism. More broadly, they found that those who identified as left-wing were more likely to report lower mental well-being. Lathanen warned against extrapolating their findings to international audiences just yet, particularly across Western nations. So high levels of anxiety and depression in people who believe something like white people on average have a higher income than black people. It's because of racism, right? Because then you're thinking, if you're constantly thinking, like you said, Florence, if you're constantly thinking in terms of binary, right? Like it's this way or that way, there is no room for discussion. Yeah. And you're thinking that this group of people has always, if you think that this group over here having a little more than this group over here, or some instances a lot more, and you're constantly thinking, well, it's because they did something bad. They had to have done something bad. They had to have stolen something from the poor people. That's the only way I can explain this. Then yeah, you're going to be on edge all the time because you're constantly thinking that there is some kind of injustice being done to every single person everywhere. Now, if you want to get into that discussion, there are injustices being done to all of us all the time by governments, but that's a different discussion. But just because someone has a bigger house or a nicer car, maybe they worked for it, and they can't understand that because they're not willing to work for it themselves. The evidence is right. We've already discussed the evidence. When they're actually asked to work, they fucking quit and go sell themselves for sex. Because of patriarchy or whatever. Oh my God. And it almost hurts your brain trying to think how they think, right? I've often said that if you want to know how to defeat your enemy, you have to think like your enemy to understand where they're coming from. But I don't think if I tried, I don't think I could do the mental gymnastics necessary to think like they do. I really don't. The studies were quite robust with a sample size of about 5,000 and good psychometric properties. Lathanen said, however, the scale would need to be validated in North American samples in order to know how these attitudes manifest there. I would guarantee that they are similar. Almost exactly similar, identical, I would say. I encourage colleagues in the United States to study the prevalence of these attitudes in the country where they originate from. If they start getting studied here, it'll be called bigotry. They'll call it bigotry. It's like, they will call it a microaggression. That's exactly what will happen. They'll call it a microaggression. And they'll demand that the government put a stop to it because it's going to harm, it's going to have disparate impact on people from poor communities and people of color and the gay community and blah, blah, blah. And that's the only argument they ever have because they don't have facts on their side. They want to shut down free speech, and they want to shut down actual real science because it might prove them wrong, and they can't have that. Okay. I don't know. Is that it? Yeah, that's it. Okay. All right. What else is next? What's on your mind, Florence? Anything else you want to talk about? Oh, I know what else we can do. There's actually a lot going on. We got a few other things to talk about here. Excuse me for a second. Wow. Okay. Let's just go down the list. Let's just go on down the list. So, George Lucas. George Lucas, per Deadline, George Lucas comes out in support of Bob Iger, Disney in proxy battle. Creating magic is not for amateurs. All right, now, if you hadn't seen this, you may be having the reaction that I think a lot of people had initially, and I think I had that reaction, myself, for a moment, that, holy fuck, George Lucas, why would you do this? It's not really that surprising when you stop to think about it and you look at everything that's happened over the years and how old he is and what's going on, but let's get into it. I'm going to get new headphones. I don't know why this is so uncomfortable this morning. Nah, they're actually good headphones. I'm just bitching and whining like a little bitch. fuck. Life is good. I shouldn't ever complain. I really have it good. I do. Oh, Lord. Oh, yeah. Heard about the George Lucas thing. I just quit Star Wars a long time ago. Yeah, right when when Solo came out. It's especially sad because I was a massive Star Wars fan as a kid. Me too. Me too. I remember one Christmas, my parents got me, there was this VHS box set of the original trilogy, and it had Darth Vader. No, I'm trying to remember. It had Yoda and Darth Vader and I think a stormtrooper, like a little, not a silhouette, but a half image of each of their faces on each of the three sides of the VHS boxes. And it was such a cool box set. And I watched that thing a million times. Empire Strikes Back is just one of my favorite movies of all time. When I was a little kid, I thought the battle on the ice planet of Hoth was the coolest thing in the world. I thought it was the coolest thing I've ever seen, and I still think it's one of the coolest things I've ever seen. I haven't watched that movie. You know what? That's what I'm going to do. When I finish, I've got so many things I need to watch. I should probably slow down a little bit. It's just wonderful. I don't even think it's just nostalgia talking. I think that it's just that nothing SW Star Wars related really catches my interest. Even shows and movies that should sound great to me just don't somehow. Yeah, it's not Star Wars anymore, right? And I know what we'll do. We'll compare it, right? Let's actually, you know what? Now that you brought that up, let's do something else. Let's watch another trailer. Let's watch the Ahsoka trailer. Now that you've done that, I was watching my own video first. I was trying to find some information on it. Oh, no, not Ahsoka. I'm sorry. Shit, I can't even remember the name of the Acolyte. Excuse me. God. I am freaking tired. Yeah, okay, let's watch this. And to your point, it's not Star Wars anymore. Right? And we'll get a big dose of that right now. Let's just jump into it. I keep thinking it's like I need to pause and do this, that, or the other, but I'm not getting paid for this anyway. Screw it. If you haven't seen this, there's
Close your eyes. Your eyes can deceive you. We must not trust them. Tell me what comes into your mind.
Okay, so do you notice anything yet? Do you notice anything yet? I'm not talking about... Do you notice anything maybe about like the themes or the feel of it, the tone of it? Right? Does it feel like Star Wars? Acolyte seems super meta to me. I'd love for more Ancient Jedi stuff, but I'm really not looking forward to this considering the creatives they got working for the show. Right. Yeah, I know. They can't... Star Wars is dead. You know, they can't... Let's get through this, but see if it feels like Star Wars.
Life. Balance. I see fire.
Said close your eyes.
Balance. I see fire.
Close your eyes. How half-assed you be? You tell look, the guy in the back, he's got his eyes closed. That alien has his eyes closed. What did it cost you? Like $1,000 CGI to just put some closed eyelids on? Actually, it would probably cost like $50,000. These fucking budgets. Like, and you know what? That's probably just being lazy.
Fire.
Listen to this music. Listen to this music. Florence you said it about the epic music before. It's just these big drums and these low strings, and it's got to be this epic blah, 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 this dark epicness, right? It's like, oh my God, this big sweeping epic bullshit. It's going to be the coolest, biggest thing I've ever seen in my life. That's what they want you to think every single time. I think the Clone Wars cartoon had Mon Calamari with eyelids and had them closed. Same with Rhodians. There's no excuse for the eyes on that child to be open, especially if they're doing practical effects. Yes. Yes. Now, the one in the background... And we're here. We're watching it. We might as well just go over it. Let's wait till the next... Okay. So... I can't stand the music.
Tell me
I really can't.
what comes into your mind.
All right, hold on. We'll get there. We'll take a look at the aliens.
Life. Balance.
And
I see.
okay, so the one in the back looks a little more CGI, and that might make a little more sense. He's out of focus and everything. That one looks pretty CGI. The guy up front, I think it looks CGI to me. Doesn't that look CGI? And I'm going based off of kind of, if you just look at the outline, it looks a little superimposed. Maybe that's just from the coloring. I don't know, but it looks a little superimposed to me. I don't know. What do you think? Because there's no excuse either way. There's no excuse either way. It looks practical with some yeah, you're probably right. Yeah. Yeah. Which is actually, I think, the best way to do it. I think you should do everything practical and then just touch it up with some CGI. I think that looks the best. You know, that's a lot like what they did in Doom Part 2. Doom Part 2 looks so fucking good. And they used a ton of practical effects. A ton. It looks fantastic. But this is just lazy. This is just lazy. There's no excuse for this. So what is that? And this is a little thing, but when you let all of these little things go, then you just end up with a big fucking pile of shit. You know, a bunch of little turds make a big pile of shit. I hate how dull the colors look. Yeah, it looks very uncanny. Yes, uncanny valley, very much so. And I wonder if they're doing. I wonder if they do the colors like that, you know, to kind of blend to mask some of the rushed CGI. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. You're an artist. You might understand colors and how they apply to different variables and stuff like that more than I do. You probably do. I almost guarantee you do. But I think they probably choose a lot of these colors so that they blend a little more so that you can't tell the difference, which makes sense, which is fine. Unless it just looks out of place or it just kind of adds to this overall dull tone of this frickin' nihilism that they're putting into everything and that nothing matters and blah, blah, blah. But this is lazy. This is lazy. Oh, and there's no white people. Okay. That, masking the CG, and also to save money on reshoots, if I had to guess, yeah. Yeah. And they sure do love their reshoots, don't they? My God. I don't know if they did it for this, though. It kind of seems like they just let Leslie Headland do whatever the fuck she wanted with this one, which is terrifying. Let's continue. We'll just...
Fire.
Fire. Trinity.
That's not Star Wars fighting. That's Matrix fighting. If you're going to do hand-to-hand combat in Star Wars, you have lightsabers. Zack Snyder understands this more than you do, and that's fucked up. And that's another thing. Jedi are just fucking boring now. Yeah, Jedi were the coolest shit when I was a kid watching the prequels. They really... With the prequels, yeah. The first thing that pops to my mind is the scene where they're all in the arena. You know, there's like, I haven't seen the prequels in so long, and I don't remember those nearly as well as the original trilogy. But they just had just like 100 lightsabers just going at it, right? I'm going to have to go watch the prequels again. I think I've only seen each of those movies, like, if I'm being honest, twice. I think. I've seen the original trilogy a billion times. But yeah, that's why the lightsabers are there. They're knights, right? They're like knights in space. I haven't seen, by the way, I'm not going to claim to be a Star Wars, like, uber nerd or anything like that. I'm not. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I am. I'm not. Even the CG trailers for the Old Republic MMO make the Jedi look so fucking cool. Like, I want to be in this world. And the world of Star Wars, right? That's why we loved it so much. It's one of the reasons we love it so much. They created this entire world that felt real and different, but alive. Felt like you could step right into it, right into the world of Star Wars. You know, all of the great IPs, all of the good creators, the great creative minds, they know how to do that, and they do it so well, and it draws you in, and you just feel like you're part of it. And all of the little details, like the little details with the mask, the things that they don't miss, right? They miss it because they don't care. They don't care about the world building. They don't think it's important. I bet they don't even really know what that is. I'd be willing to bet they don't even have a really good grasp on what world building is when it comes to making a movie or when it comes to making a show. Why do you believe that? I don't. Why should we? They haven't proven it to us. Anyway.
Someone is killing Jedi. It doesn't make sense.
Lightsaber. Of course.
What happened?
Bringing in Chewie. Member berries. Force.
Sensed darkness.
Like Ezra Miller.
This isn't about good or bad. This is about power and who is allowed to use it.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that? Let's go back.
This isn't about good or bad. This is about power and who is allowed to use it.
This isn't about good or bad. This is about power and who is allowed to use it. Does that sound like Star Wars to you? It doesn't sound like Star Wars to me. This isn't Star Wars. It's a cheap facsimile of Star Wars. Not about good or bad, about power and who's allowed to use it. Nah, I'd still take good or bad over this. Absolutely. It is. Star Wars is a story about good versus evil. Right? And again, this comes back to they have this weird thing where they can't, there's no good and evil because it goes back to them. It goes back to them thinking that they don't have to improve, that they don't have to change, that they are good enough and that they need to be accepted just the way they are, no matter what they do. Right? They don't like the idea of heroes. They don't like the idea of heroes because a hero implies that you're saving people, which means that you might be better than someone else. And they can't have that. They can't have the idea that someone might be better than anyone else unless it's them. Right? They want to be seen as the savior. They want to be seen as the person who is saving the West, who is saving society from the evils of Nazi. But no one else can be a hero because that would imply that you're better than someone. But they want to be viewed as the saviors themselves. It's just wild, man. Star Wars feels like it's trying to copy Game of Thrones. Yeah. Star Wars feels like it's trying to copy Game of Thrones, it feels. There's shades of gray, and power is the only thing that matters. And I love Game of Thrones, but you can't make Game of Thrones inspired Jedi story. Right. It's not the same. It's not the same story. It wasn't designed to be the same story. Like we were talking about earlier, Game of Thrones is very nihilistic, right? Everything, it's just black death. Everyone dies. Nothing matters. You'll betray family. You'll betray friends. Nothing matters. Only power matters. And who is allowed to use it. It's the only thing that matters in that world, right? You see what happens in the world of Game of Thrones. The people who cling to the old ideas of good versus evil and tradition, like Ned Stark, are killed. They suffer because of it. Because they will not compromise their values. Okay? That's that story. Things like the original Star Wars is good versus evil, and that good will triumph no matter what. The goodness within will realize, if you fight for it, right? If you work together, if you have faith, and you stay true to your friends, and you fight for what is right, you fight for what is good, it may be a long road, it'll be a tough battle, there'll be some wins, maybe a lot of losses, you win some, you lose some, but you keep fighting, and you believe, and you focus on improving yourself, and being one with the world around you, understanding that you are a part of something bigger than yourself. And if you accept it and you work within it and you fight for what is good, one day that good will triumph. It's about that, right? That's a story. That's a journey. And they don't know how to do that because they don't believe in the good versus, they don't believe there is good and evil. Well, they believe in evil. They believe anyone who disagrees with them is evil. And they believe that they're just good, just cause reasons. Honestly, it'd make a ton more sense if they used Godfather Game of Thrones as inspiration for a bounty hunter thug story on Nar Shaddaa or Tatooine. Like a Godfather Game of Thrones. Yeah, I was thinking the other day, it would be maybe like a good, if The Mandalorian had been maybe like a more mature story, like a mature, a little more violence, and just make it an adult. If you made a Star Wars just like a mature series, right? They would just end up throwing a bunch of fucking sex in it. That's what they would do. Fuck. But go a little overboard with the violence. Maybe get a little language in there. More mature themes, Now, I know that's asking a great deal because these people aren't mature and they don't know how to do that. I don't know. It's dead. It's dead, man. Let's finish watching the trailer. So, it's not about good versus evil. It's about power and who is allowed to wield it. They only care about power. They don't even care if what they are doing is morally right because they don't believe in morals. They just want the power to do stuff. That's it. They're telling you right to your face.
What is that?
Lightsabers. Okay. Okay, all right. It's not Star Wars. It's not Star Wars. I heard in Andor that they wanted to throw an F-bomb in one scene, but I completely disagreed with it. You can use the language of the world that's been established without resorting to our in-real-life slur. Yeah, I don't want them, I wouldn't want them to degrade it just by going, fuck this, fuck that, motherfucker, blah, 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 talking like a New Yorker or something like that. No, or talking like me, I guess. No. I agree with that. Yeah, I wouldn't want that. I don't know. Just don't be afraid to write a more mature story, right? because Disney has had this whole thing where, it's a kid's brand and, and I don't know. I don't want to talk about, holy shit, 174,000 up to 468,000 down. Let me add to that. Wow. Jesus. No, I agree with you. Yeah, I don't want them to just turn it into swearing just for the sake of swearing. I don't want that. But it's the whole thing, like the Marvel comedy that everything has to be broken up with a joke every 10 seconds, right? Stop doing that. But they don't know how. Because they don't know how to write real drama. They don't know how to be creative with more mature stories. They just know how to make these little smart-ass quips every now and then that aren't even that good anymore. That's all they know how to do. So this doesn't look like Star Wars. It really doesn't. It looks awful. I mean, to be honest, it is not fair of me. It is not fair of me to review it without first having seen it. Okay? It's not. But I don't know what's... I don't have any... This doesn't look promising. I don't have a good feeling about it. It doesn't look like Star Wars. It's just not Star Wars. Fuck, man. It's dead. Star Wars is dead. And George Lucas... He didn't really help kill it. He just kind of... He had enough. We didn't read this, did we? We'll get into this. Hold on. Excuse me. We're not going to be going for too much longer. We'll get through this, and then I got... see, watch that. Maybe like one or two other things, but that's it. Let's get into this. Hold on a second. Disney and George Lucas comes out in support of Bob Iger. Disney and proxy battle. Creating magic is not for amateurs, he says. Excuse me. So, yeah, this has to do because Disney has their vote for their board of directors coming up. Their shareholder vote for the board of directors is coming up in April. And Bob Iger and the board are freaking out because they don't want Nelson Peltz and one of his buddies and maybe Elon Musk, getting in on the action. So they're going into overdrive, and George Lucas has stepped in to put in his 2 cents on who he supports. George Lucas has come out in support of Disney and CEO Bob Iger as the company wages a bitter proxy fight against activist investor Nelson Peltz, who is making a run for 2 seats on the company's board. In a statement issued this morning, Lucas said, March 19th, okay? In a statement issued this morning, Lucas said, creating magic is not for amateurs. So let's stop right there, because I was watching a stream the other day, and I don't know, I think it might have been Friday Night Tights who said this. It was one of those crew, but in a creating magic is not for amateurs. Well, it kind of is. Because you were an amateur when you created Star Wars, George. No big studio wanted to... You didn't want to give up your rights to any big studio. You said, I want to finish this the way I want to finish it, right? You were basically an amateur filmmaker. And you didn't want to give up the rights because you didn't want a big studio changing what you had made, changing your story, so you bet on yourself, and it paid off many, many times over. Exponentially it did. So I don't know, it's kind of a weird thing to say, but I don't know. He's older now and blah, blah, blah. When I sold Lucasfilm just over a decade ago, I was delighted to become a Disney shareholder because of my longtime admiration for its iconic brand and Bob Iger's leadership. When Bob recently returned to the company during a difficult time, I was relieved. No one knows Disney better. I remain a significant shareholder because I have full faith and confidence in the power of Disney and Bob's track record of driving long-term value. I have voted all of my shares for Disney's 12 directors and urge other shareholders to do the same. Okay, so my initial reaction when I saw this, at least for the first few seconds, was like, motherfuck, George. Why? Why would you do that? But then I took a deep breath, you know, because we just don't want Disney to win, I think, you know. And after stopping and sitting back for a moment, being like, you know what? It's not that surprising. He's old. He sold them in 2012. And at that time, you know, I think what happened is George Lucas, I think he told the story he wanted to tell. And after the prequels came out, you know, a lot of people liked him, but there was a lot more hate on the prequels, right? There was a lot of criticisms on the prequels, and a lot of it was well-founded criticism. And I think George really took a lot of that to heart. And I think that really got into his head a little bit more than he'd probably like to admit. And I think he went, you know what? I told the story I wanted to tell. Maybe people like it. Maybe people don't. That's fine. I'm done. I've got a chance to get $4 billion. And he trusted Disney. And we all trusted Disney at the time, right? We all did. When we heard that Disney was going to be making Star Wars, we thought we were going to get endless, just beautiful, wonderful storytelling Star Wars. We thought it was wonderful. We saw what they were doing with Marvel. We saw what they had done with Pirates of the Caribbean. Saw what we did with all of their animation. And we thought, this is great. And then reality happened. Fuck. So it's not all that surprising he did this because he's 82. I think he's 82. He's not in great health. He's an old man. And a lot of other people have said this, you know, and I think he just wants to stick. He doesn't want to rock the boat. He doesn't want to get into a bunch of bullshit. He doesn't want to get into a big debate, and he doesn't want to get into all the news and the noise of all of this crap that's flying around it. And that's understandable. I get it. You know, he doesn't have anything to prove. He just wants to stick with what he knows. And this is what he knows. So it makes sense. It sucks, but I don't know. I don't think it's not that shocking, surprising. It's not. It sucks, but let's see. Disney acquired the company behind Star Wars in late 2012, cash and stock deal worth $4 billion, which made Lucasfilm founder a major Disney stockholder. And George Lucas right now is the number one shareholder of Disney stock. Number one holder of Disney stock right now. Yeah, see, it was one of the trio along with Marvel and Pixar that cemented Iger's reputation. Again, Iger's not a creative. He's very good at making business deals. And we thought it was going to be great because they had Pixar. They had Marvel. They were doing great stuff. It looked awesome. Oh, let's see. Peltz Investments firm. Okay, so we won't get into all that crap. Disney got a vote of confidence yesterday when influential proxy advisory service Glass Lewis recommended shareholders vote. Okay, so anyway, it gets into the shareholder stuff and everything. I don't know. Whatever. Back had to step out. No worries. No worries. Just going over George. You know, it's not that surprising. It's not that surprising. Disappointing. Not surprising. Okay. What else do we got? I clicked on the wrong thing. Excuse me. You get. Let's see. Oh. We're probably going to wrap it up pretty quick. We went through the Acolyte trailer. We talked about George Lucas. We went over all the fucking Kotaku and Sweet Baby shit. God damn, dude. What else? Anything else? You want to watch another trailer? Let's watch another trailer. We'll watch another trailer. We'll read one more very quick article, and then we'll probably get out of here. Let's do, yeah, I know there's two trailers here. This is okay, they're both right here. Let's watch this one. see. Seen the Alien Romulus trailer? No, I don't think I have. You know what? Let's watch that one instead. Teaser. Full trailer. This isn't. Oh, it's that same fucking site. This little Cage Studios that makes the. Oh, whatever. Let's watch this one. Okay. Good ambiance.
Run.
Okay. Wait, what did that say? Hold on a second. Okay. Oh, that looks all right. It looks like maybe they're getting back a little bit to what Alien is, right? That kind of, that terror, that opening part.
No, I was...
That's not what I meant to do, sorry. Like this part right here, this whole kind of feel and everything, you know, just that deafening silence, that feeling alone, that terror of like just something around you that you can't see, you know it's there, it's going to kill you at any time, just a death that you can't see. Saw Don't Breathe just recently. Loved the Evil Dead remake, and now I love Don't Breathe. So I'm pretty pumped for this movie. Yeah, if it's got the quality of those, it should be pretty good. It should be pretty entertaining. It should be pretty entertaining. It looks okay. Looks okay. I'll go see it for sure. Looks okay. I just you know, get back to what Alien is. You've gotten off the rails quite a bit. I won't even get into Prometheus. I won't even get into that. Oh my god. Shit. That looks okay. Looks okay. I hope it comes out in August. Okay. The wife likes scary movies too. Really love two things from this. The bunch of facehuggers smashing through a door to get to the characters and then removing the facehugger. Don't think I've ever seen that. You know what? That's a good point. I don't think I've seen that either. Here.
Run.
Right? Yeah, this part right here. Oh, a little suggestive. Don't pause. Okay, there's a chance that this could be properly creepy. This could be properly scary. Right? There's a chance. They do this right. This could be a really good scary movie if they do this right. There's a chance. There's always a chance. Unless Disney makes it. Happy that Isabella Merced is going to be in this movie too. She needs to come back after Madam Web. Don't they all? Don't they all? Oh, by the way, if you haven't seen the Madam Web review, go check it out. Boy, that movie was, at the very least, it was entertaining to make fun of it. God, wow. That one movie destroyed their entire timeline for all their Spider-Man movies. amazing. Okay, but that looks like it'd have a chance of being pretty good. We'll definitely go see that. Definitely go see that. Let's we might as well. We've just been trailer happy today. Let's watch these. I'm probably gonna. This will probably end up getting blocked. Whatever.
We fight for our queen!
A second.
My father chose me, his firstborn child, to succeed him. He held to his decision until death. And yet, Alicent's son sits my throne.
So this will actually, and this is going up against the Acolyte. And people are actually excited for this. The Acolyte's gonna bomb so bad.
I mean to fight this war and win it.
The realm will soon tear itself apart. If men do not remember the oath sworn to King Viserys and to his rightful heir.
See, you can already see the production value on this is very good. CGI looks good. The action looks good.
You must crush this beast at its head.
Our terms are very simple. Renounce the false king and bend the knee to the king, or your house burns.
When the desire to kill and burn takes hold and reason is forgotten, you will not even remember what began the war in the first place.
We fight for our queen!
I feel what I've begun.
Yeah. This looks good. This looks good. Excuse me. This looks good. Halfway into season 1 right now, but House of the Dragon is so fucking good. It's really good. I loved Millie Alcock too. Yeah, she was very good. Very good. It's a shame she's not returning for season 2, but I'm very happy she's going to be Supergirl and James Gunn DCU. That might be a really good casting decision. She might be a really good Supergirl, but this is good. This is good. Yeah, season 1, I'm going to have to rewatch season 1 right before this comes out, but this is good. So that's the House Black trailer. This is the House Green trailer.
For the one true King Aegon!
And I will also state that I haven't read the books. The original Game of Thrones, I watched that series, I think I binged that like 12 times. Because the first 4 seasons are so fucking good. I adore the first 4 seasons of that show. I really do. And then just madness. Madness. Stupidity and madness. Madness and stupidity is what he actually says when he's talking to Tyrion. But anyway, I digress.
Many weeks ago, my lord husband was alive, and the realm was at peace.
It just looks good. It just looks good.
You knew the realm would never accept a queen. Rhaenyra's supporters will believe what they wish, but Viserys wanted Aegon to succeed him.
The last seasons of that show soured me so much. I have zero interest in House of the Dragon. David. Oh, hi, David Lovett. Hold on a second. Halfway to see it. First of all, Florence. Hi, David. Nice to see you. Nice to meet you. Florence, I should have said spoilers. I'm so fucking sorry. I wasn't even thinking when I read your message. I'm so fucking sorry. Do you maybe want to put a... Do you maybe not want to watch these right now? I don't want to have spoiled anything from you. I don't think there's like too big of spoilers unless there's some characters who may or may not be there anymore. Okay. All right. Yeah, dude, I understand, David. The last seasons, man, soured a lot of people. Really, really did. I was one of those people. When the first season came out, I didn't watch it right away. I really did not. I was like, I can't do this. I really cannot do this. Seasons 7 and 8 of Game of Thrones were just a clusterfuck of madness and stupidity and madness. But the season one of House of Dragon's good. It's really good. It really is. There's one scene I can remember off the top of my head that's really stupid. You go, Jesus, what the fuck? This didn't need to be here. And it's kind of like a girl boss moment. But other than that, it's good. It's really good. So, you know what? I'll just go back and start this again.
Many weeks ago, my lord husband was alive. And the realm was at peace.
See, the production just looks great.
You knew the realm would never accept a queen. Rhaenyra's supporters will believe what they wish. But Viserys wanted Aegon to succeed him.
And you know how we were talking about like the little details in Star Wars that just even something like blinking eyes that they can't get right or they just don't care about? All the little details in something like this seem to be squared away, right? The production value, the setting, the clothing, all of the props, all of the the CGI looks very good. Everything looks smooth. Transitions are nice. The production value, there's a difference. You can just see the difference, and it shows that people care, right? They have a little pride in what they're doing. They actually care about it.
They wish now not for the good of the realm, but for the satisfaction of vengeance.
Plot against the king, and I will pay it back 100 times over. I'm as fearsome as any of them.
You have no idea the sacrifices that were made to put you on that throne.
I have to pause it, I think. I think I like this trailer better than the other trailer. I like Otto Hightower. I like Daemon Targaryen. Sub to a channel that analyzed House of the Dragon costumes a while back. The details in these costumes are really impressive. Yeah, they get down to like the embroidery and the buttons and all of it. It's really, it's impressive. It's impressive. And to see what they can do when they put their mind to it and actually put in some effort. And it pays off. People notice. Even people, just a normie, I guess, if you want to say, who may not analyze it the way we do, you pick up on it, right? It's kind of the way you almost talk about the uncanny valley in a way, right? The human eye just picks up on things that are quality, and you can tell if it just doesn't look right or something's out of place. This all looks natural. It looks like it belongs. Looks like it was made in world. It looks good.
There's a challenge I welcome. If you dare face me.
We will prevail and bring forth peace. But you must accept that the path to victory now is one of violence.
Good. To war, then.
All my life, I've endeavored to serve both my house and the realm. And somehow none of it matters. Endeavored to serve both my house and the realm.
I just like that shot. And I gotta pause it. It just looks good. It just looks good.
And somehow none of it matters.
Hold to your courage for the one true King Aegon!
Yeah, that looks good. That looks good. That looks good. Yeah. David, I would highly encourage, watch the first season if you're looking for something good. While waiting maybe for this. It's really good. It's really good. It's very entertaining. It's well done. It will remind you a lot more of like the first 2 seasons of Game of Thrones, I think. I really think. Definitely really like Olivia Cooke as an actress. Yes. I've seen her in a few episodes of Bates Motel. That's what she was. Yeah, Bates Motel. Yeah, we watched that not too long ago, like a year or two ago. And the Ready Player One movie when that came out. I've never seen Ready Player One, but Bates Motel. Bates Motel's a pretty good show. Yeah, she's good. She's good. Everyone in this is pretty good. Everyone in this is pretty damn good. Check it out eventually. It looks really good. I need to get over my bitterness. I know. You know, the only way you do, just jump in. Just jump in. Just say fuck it and go. Don't listen to me. I've been to rehab 7 times. I'll probably get you into a world of shit. But if it's a TV show, yeah, go. Give it a shot. All right. That looks good. I think we're going to wrap up pretty quick here. But I just wanted to... What was the next thing I wanted to touch on? Running around like a chicken with my head cut off. Oh, something really stupid. I don't know if you guys saw this. A student persuaded by his friend to get his legs amputated for a $1.3 million insurance scam wound up getting only $7,200 that he now has to return. And this is my little bit of crazy from around the world for this week. God. Oh, I got something else we can do either, but let's get through this first. I'm all over the place. A student persuaded by his friend to get his leg. We said that. I said that. A student in Taiwan had his legs amputated to claim $1.3 million in insurance payouts. Criminal Investigation Bureau said the man soaked his feet for 10 hours in dry ice to get frostbite. But the plan backfired when medical staff thought his injuries seemed suspicious. A university student in Taiwan who had his legs amputated in hopes of receiving a $1.3 million insurance payout has been arrested on suspicion of fraud. Local prosecutors say the 23-year-old, identified only by his last name, Zhang, plunged his feet into a bucket of dry ice for more than 10 hours. He had to, you got to get shit-faced drunk to get through this. To get them so badly, or a bunch of fentanyl, to get them so badly frostbitten that he would need a double amputation, the Taiwan Criminal Investigation Bureau said in a Thursday release. The Bureau said that a friend of Zhang's from high school, identified only as Liao, persuaded him to carry out the insurance scam. Lau, also 23, suffered losses from trading cryptocurrency, and he tricked Zhang into signing a legal note obligating him to pay about $800,000. Oh, so just think, if you ever think that you don't know what you're doing, just remember that people like this exist. If for some reason, you get those moments where you think, where did I leave my phone? And you're holding your phone, right? And you think, God, I'm really retarded. Just remember, people like this exist in the world. The local media outlet Taiwan News reported that Lau told Zhang that gangsters were pursuing him. On January 26, 2023, Lau and Zhang rode around Taipei on a motorbike at night, wanting to present the claim that Zhang was afflicted with frostbite while riding the vehicle in the late evening. Just days before, Zhang bought several expensive policies for life insurance, travel insurance, and accident insurance, prosecutors said. After their motorbike ride, he soaked his feet in dry ice and was admitted to the hospital, but the medical staff sensed something was amiss. Legs bore no shock or sock marks. Injuries appeared symmetrical, which were inconsistent with naturally occurring frostbite. And, of course, the weather was 42 degrees. Oh, and Taiwan being a subtropical region, cases of severe frostbite requiring amputation are unheard of. So, my life seems more normal after seeing that. Yes. So, just when you think you're like the weirdest or the craziest or the dumbest or anything like that, just remember, You're not either of these gentlemen. It's not that bad, right? You still got your leg. Well, I don't know. I don't know you, David. You still have your legs? If not, I don't care either way. But this guy doesn't. And not only does he not have his legs, he doesn't have $1.3 million. And not only does he not have 7,200, he doesn't have 7,200. And now he's just a dumbass with no legs. Oh boy, dude. I'm generally kind of like dumbfounded what to say. I don't know what to say. So yeah. The world is a crazy place. There's a lot of stupid people. Just remember, it could always be worse. It could always, always, always be worse. This guy could have been your friend. What would you say to a friend like that? Like, what would you say to a friend if he was trying to get you to, like, cut your legs off for an insurance policy? Damn, dude, I almost feel like really bad now because the guy who cut off his legs, he must have been really dumb. Ah, shit. He was probably like an actual, like, you know, retard. You know what I mean? Like, this guy took advantage of someone who was really stupid. Shit. Anyway, he's going to jail. They're both going to jail. Okay. So what else do we have? I think we're going to be close to being done. I thought there was maybe one more thing I wanted to talk about. But, oh, yeah. I think. Wait, what the fuck was I going to talk about? This is my life. Like, on a moment-to-moment basis. Like, what am I doing? Why am I here? How did I get here? What's my name? You know, you have half a dozen concussions and just as many times into the hospital for rehab, and that'll happen. Your brain cells just kind of no more. But I just had kind of an opinion thing I wanted to say. I think a lot of people now, and this is kind of stems from a comment that was made on one of my videos. And I'm not bashing the commenter, the person or anything like that. But I think a lot of people now are looking for a little bit of confirmation bias. Let me start over. They are looking for confirmation bias, but let me start over. I've seen a lot of comments recently, and you guys may have seen them as well, where people are going on to channels like mine, or they're going on to bigger channels. I've seen them on like Little Platoon and Mauler and Critical Drinker, you know, much bigger and important channels, actual channels. And a lot of comments of people saying, why is the only thing you guys ever do is bash movies, bash entertainment? You're always so negative. You're always saying how bad everything is. And I think people are just looking for a positive message. I think people are just looking for something to be happy about, something to be excited about, because it's very easy to look around the world and see everything as shit, right? It's very easy to do that. It's very easy to have that perception to kind of just say, fuck it, you know, it's not worth it. Everything's bad. Everyone's negative. Everything's this. Everything's that. It's very easy to do that. And don't get me wrong. I have done that plenty of times. Plenty of times. I don't really want this on the screen while I'm talking about this. I don't want this on the screen while I'm talking about it. God, I'm a mess. But it's people are kind of in a shock, right? That everything around them seems to be falling apart. Everything just seems to be coming apart at the seams. And part of it is designed that way to make you feel like it's hopeless, to make you give up, to make you just give in and hand yourself over to the machine so to speak, in a way. Like there's nothing worth fighting for, right? Like there's no point. We were talking about like the nihilism, kind of like the nihilism of Game of Thrones. Like there's no point to life. Everything's just black in the end. Everything's just death. And I think people are kind of feeling overwhelmed by that. And they're just looking for something to be positive and be happy about. And that's understandable. But we also have to be honest about our situation. And I think the more honest we are, the more truth we tell about our situation, I think the happier we will actually be in the long run. Because the more and more you stay in a state of denial, the more you kind of kick the can down the road, the more you avoid the problem, the bigger the problem gets, right? The first step to overcoming a problem is admitting that there is a problem in the first place. And the denial has gone on for a really long time. And now a lot of us are opening our eyes, kind of waking up for the first time and seeing that, wow, this got really bad and we need to do something about it. And that's where the honesty comes into play, right? We have to admit that something is not right. Something is rotten in Denmark, that all is not what it seems, and that we have to do better. We have to try to get better. And I don't want to say that it's all peaches and cream. I don't want to say that everything is going to magically get better the moment you start being honest, like your world's just going to turn around like that. But you put yourself on the right path. You put yourself on the right journey to getting back to a little bit of sanity and to better health. It's like if you were, 500 pounds and you keep denying that, no, it's not because I don't exercise. It's not because I eat like shit. It's not because I'm lazy. It's not because I don't take care of myself. It's just a genetic thing. And the more you kick the can down the road, the worse and worse and worse it gets. And the more sick you become until that's it, right? Now, I'm not saying this is going to kill you, but as soon as you admit, as soon as you're honest with yourself, again, you don't lose that weight overnight, but you start yourself on the right path to getting healthy again. And I think that's what we're doing. I think, that you see those, nature is healing itself, right? In a way. They're starting to lose. They're losing. It's a long fight ahead of us, but we got to be honest. We have to be honest. I know that it's always darkest before the dawn, right? Always darkest before the dawn. And we got to do this together. We have to do this together. But I assure you, if we are honest about it, the thing that they fear most, part of the reason that they want to control our speech is because they don't want us telling the truth. Just imagine if every single person stood up at the exact same time and started telling the truth. What could they do? What could they do? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. That's why they want to control our speech. They don't want us telling the truth. They can't compete with the truth. There's nothing more powerful than an idea. So I understand why people are looking for something positive, right? And that's why a lot of us say, go watch some of the classic stuff. Go watch some of the old stuff, right? We got to be honest about today, but we're honest about yesterday too, that yesterday's stories were just better. And like Star Wars, we don't want to, it's hard to admit that Star Wars is dead, and it sucks. It sucks to say that, oh my God, Star Wars is completely dead. I loved Star Wars, and now it's gone. Yeah, that sucks. But we can cut ties, and we can move forward, and we can not hold on to this dead weight, and we can move forward with and create our own stories, right? We can create our own stories. We have an opportunity. We have an opportunity to do something great. We have an opportunity to build. We have an opportunity to make our own stories. And if you don't see anything positive, if you see everything negative, go write your own story. Go paint your own picture. Go build your own game. You just start. Just start doing it. I just started doing this channel just because I wanted to do it. I'm not an expert on anything. I'm not a computer expert. I'm not an entertainment expert. I'm not a news expert. I'm just a dude sitting in my spare bedroom. I'm just a dude. I'm just a guy. If I can do this, anyone can do this. Anyone at home can do this, right? And I actually feel pretty good doing this. I like talking about this stuff. Even if it's just cathartic to myself, just getting it off my mind, let's share our ideas. If we need to vent together, and let's vent together. Let's go to a park and have a good scream. No, fuck that. Let's talk about it. Let's figure it out. Let's be honest and figure it out and move forward together and build something better. That's what we got to do. So that's why we're honest about things. And sorry, not sorry, right? We have to be honest. The truth hurts a lot of times, and the truth is often very simple. And the very simple, painful truth is that all of this shit that they're making today really fucking sucks. It just does. There's a few gems. There's a few diamonds in the turd every now and then. But for the most part, it sucks. That being said, we will be okay. We keep fighting. We keep our heads up. We keep moving forward. And like we talked about earlier in this stream, it may seem hopeless, but you have faith, you work together, you work hard, and good will triumph. Okay? It's just a passing cloud. Every storm eventually moves on, and then the sun will shine again. It'll shine out the clearer, to quote Sam, and it will. You'll be okay. We'll be all right. No reason to stay black-pilled. I've been there. I've been there a million times. I got out of it. Keep your head up. Be all right, guys. Florence, Comic Book Girl 19 put it really well for me. You always talk about how shitty movies are, so I should just like shitty movies. Exactly. Why? I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to lie to you. What good does that do me? What good does that do you? Because let's say I review Rebel Moon, right? That movie sucks, man. That movie really fucking sucks, in my opinion. But if I tell you, it's like, oh my God, Rebel Moon is the best movie I've ever seen. I can't tell you how good it is. It's better than Star Wars. It's better than this. It's better than that. They should have put it in theaters. It's the best movie I've seen in years. And you go and you watch it and you're like, what the fuck? Why did you lie to me? Why did you do that? And even if you like, and now Florence, you said you liked parts of the movie, and that's fine. But if I tell you it's the greatest, grandest thing that's ever been created, you come back to me and you're like, yeah, I liked it, but it didn't deserve an Oscar. You know, I sound like I'm out of my mind. I don't know if I could sound any more out of my mind than I already do, but what good does that do me? Right? And I'll use, I will use the good old example of Chris Stuckman. I don't know if you've seen the Chris Stuckman video, his non-review of Madam Web and his whole stance on not being negative and not talking about movies that he doesn't like. So kind of admitting that they're bad movies by not talking about them. What good does that do anyone? What good are you doing? Now, you know, Chris Stuckman, and the overwhelming thought is that he's doing it so he can get in good with the movie industry because now he's a filmmaker. His film is Shady Oaks. I can't remember. I'll watch that. I will watch that. But think about, Chris Stuckman he's not honest. He's not being honest with his viewers, with his followers, with his fans. And they called him out big time. They called him out big time. You go look at the comment section of that video. People are not happy, man. And they just wanted him to be honest. It's not benefiting anyone. And if for whatever reason he's trying to get in good with the movie industry, he's lying or kind of lying and lying by omission just for personal gain. That doesn't endear you to people. People can't trust that. I've seen parts of it. I can agree not wanting to talk about movies you don't like, but at the same time, isn't it the point of the job of a reviewer to watch any movies good? Yes. Look, if you're a movie critic, right? And again, I am an amateur movie critic. I just started this. I'm sorry about the microphone. It's all over the place. I'm so sorry. But I'm going to be honest about it, right? And if I didn't want constructive criticism, if I didn't want to listen to criticism about myself, if I wasn't willing to accept that, how would I know how to improve? How do you know how to get better if everyone's constantly telling you, you're so good, you're so great, there's no way you could have done this better. You're the bestest ever. How do you get better? How do you strive to make something great? I mean, you could have made a piece of shit, and if everyone's telling you that it's so great, you're like, oh, well, I'll just walk around taking shits all over the place. Everyone tells me it's great. That doesn't do you any good. I don't know. Maybe unless you're getting paid millions of dollars to do that, I guess I can't necessarily argue with that. Slay Queen, get that bag or whatever the fuck. But a big reason we got into the mess that we are in is because people lie, right? And I'm not going to sit here and pretend like everyone's going to start telling the truth overnight. That is not realistic. But lies got us into this mess. And they're not going to get us out of this mess. Telling the truth will. Like even Roger Ebert, the most popular critic of all, had to watch movies that were fucking, and he's willing to criticize them, right? And that's why they became so popular, because they built up a trust. They built up trust with people by telling what they believe to be the truth, right? Their subjective truth based on just their opinion. And it's gotten to a point where so many of these movies are so bad that it's becoming a straight up objective truth that this is just bad. The production value, I mean, look at Star Wars. Need I say more? The production value gets worse. The writing gets worse. The story doesn't make sense. The acting's not as good. The characterization is non-existent. It's not Star Wars anymore. They don't care. So we got to tell the truth. We have to. Otherwise, it's just going to keep getting worse. Just say, screw it, I'll watch it. I don't care. Bells and whistles, member berries, so what? He vadered. It's not going to help us. It's not going to help us, right? And I am not going to say I'm an arbiter of truth. I'm not going to say that any movie reviewer, any critic is the arbiter of truth. But I will say that I think usually people have a pretty good knack for catching on to a lie and understanding when they're being lied to, when they're being bullshitted. And that is not a way to earn trust. I think it has to do a lot with Chris wanting to shift his focus to filmmaking instead of critiquing movies, which again is fine, yes, but it does create a conflict of interest. I guess, that kind of is in the way. Hold on, I can't see. I guess is the right word. If you're going to, you can be a movie critic. You can be a movie critic and a filmmaker. I think that's very possible. I think you can be a movie critic and a filmmaker and make it work. But again, you have to be honest and don't try to appease everyone. And I think that's what he's trying to do. If you are trying to please everyone all the time, you end up pleasing no one. And it pisses everyone off. Just be honest. And Chris, I'm not trying to turn this into some kind of critique of Chris Stuckman, but I I think he's going to have a hard time dealing with some criticism about his movie because he doesn't seem like he deals with negativity very well. And there's a lot we could go into, but yeah, I would suggest if you want to check out a lot more on that, I would go check out Mahler and the EFAP crew talking about him. They've got a good video on that where they really break it down, and they break it down like no one else. So I would maybe go check them out. They've got a couple, 2 or 3 videos that are really good on Chris Stuckman and how how it's kind of fell apart. So I would maybe go check that out. But boy, oh boy, lies are not going to get us out of this. Truth is going to get us out of this. Okay? And the truth is that, yeah, things are kind of bad. Things are kind of bad. But the sooner we acknowledge it, the sooner we accept it, is the sooner that we can start working on the solution. Otherwise, we just don't care. For me, I don't wish ill on Stuckman, no. But if you ask me, he's always seemed very vanilla to me. I really prefer Cody Leach and off-the-shelf reviews. Yeah, they're always real with their reviews. Yeah, he's just kind of bland. Yeah, just kind of milquetoast a little bit. He used to be, if you watch some of Chris Stuckman's old stuff, he used to be a lot more energetic. He used to be a bigger smartass. He used to tell jokes. He used to make fun. He was honest. He seemed like he was being honest. And that just went away ever since he became a filmmaker because he wants to get in good with people. And his excuse is that he understands, it's like, now I understand what it's like to be a filmmaker. Now I understand where people are coming from. And I think he doesn't want to deal with criticism. He doesn't want to deal with negativity. And that, you see what happens when you don't want to deal with negativity? You turn into Alyssa Mercanti. You don't want to deal with consequences? Don't go that way, Chris. Don't do it. I don't think it's too late for him, but but that is my 2 cents on that. Really got off the rails, didn't it? Guess I'm not shocked about that. That is my 2 cents on, look, if you're looking for something positive, I would say the positive to look for is people who won't bullshit you, people who will tell the truth. And the positive is that you have an opportunity to tell your own story. You have an opportunity to create your own thing, to create something wonderful, to create something good. You have an opportunity to tell the truth and share the truth with other people. And I think when you do that, I think you'll find that there are a lot more people out there who feel like you do, who think like you do, and you can talk with those people and be creative with those people. And you can start working on a solution together. And it's been said before by Robert Meyer Burnett, I think it was that authenticity is the currency of the future, of the now. People want something that's real. We've been lied to for so long. We've been bullshitted for so long. We want something that's real. Something we can actually hold on to. Something that means something. And that's important. And we do need those things. We do need those good things in our life, those good stories of good versus evil, those good traditional stories of heroes and villains. We need those things, right? Because all of humanity is a story. You line it up from end to end, humanity is just a big story. And heroes have inspired us the whole way. And if we're honest about it, we're honest about good and evil. That's the big one, right? We got to be honest about good and evil. If we're honest about that, and we can point our attention in the right direction and fight the good fight, as it were, and we do it together and we're honest about it, we'll be okay. It'll take a while, but we'll be okay. Honestly, Raka Raka is the best success story of YouTubers turning into filmmakers. They've always done short comedy videos before making Talk to Me, and that movie became my favorite movie of 2023. Are Are those are the guys from Australia? Or is it New Zealand? Or am I thinking of something completely else? Talk to me. That's the horror movie with the girls, right? I think they're from Australia. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I know you're talking about, but I haven't seen Talk to Me yet. So you think you say it's good? Talk to Me is? Okay. I will watch that, because like I said, my wife loves those scary movies. She loves movies like that. So we'll watch that. Watch that, actually. Write it down. I know what movie you're talking about, and I know the guys you're talking about, so cool. All right. Let me double check real quick. I think that's going to be it for today, guys. I am going to go walk the dogs and do some stuff around the house and maybe clean the garage. Anyone got anything exciting coming up for today? Or you got anything going on this week? Anything crazy? Anything the people should know? Anything at all? Is there anything that you guys want to see me do on this stream, or are there any videos that you would like to see me make? Any kind of videos, reaction videos, or continue to just review movies? Is there any kind of segment you like to see on a live stream? Anything at all? I can't guarantee anything, but I would love to get people's opinion. I would love to get constructive criticism. I'm still very much new to this. I'm still learning, and I would just love to kind of build this as I go. Not much planned other than watching the Raimi Spider-Man movies, very re-released in April. Also the first one, and that's a good plan. That's a good plan. That's a very good plan. That sounds like a good idea. Got Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2. Yeah. Oh yeah. Those are cream of the crop. Spider-Man 2 especially. I adore that movie. I really do. Reviews are always good. If you find movies and shows that interest you, even if they're crappy movies, yeah, okay. I'll keep doing that. And like I said earlier, I'm working on the original Crow right now. I'm pretty well into that review. I'm going to do that. Original Crow, I'll review. The new one when it comes out, and then later on in the year, I'll make a comparison video. I'd like to review the new Roadhouse movie too, so I'll throw that in there. What else? And of course, there's, I don't know, the movies are pretty sparse, really. But I am going to watch Shogun, and I'm going to watch The Gentleman. And as I've said before, and I continue to say this just so you guys know where I'm coming from, I still have a traditional 9-to-5 job and everything else, so I try to squeeze it in where I can. So I'll get to things when I get to things, and I'm trying not to overwhelm myself because I need to make sure I focus on one thing at a time to get it out. But I really enjoy doing these live streams. I will, like I said, it was kind of haphazard this morning because yesterday, but we can talk about that more next week. No worries about your plans. Take time. All right. Well, I appreciate that, Florence. Well, hey, thank you so much to both of you, Florence, David. Thank you for anyone and everyone who stopped by, took a view. Please hit the like, the subscribe, the share. Please comment. I very much encourage comments and everything. And yeah, I'm just going to keep working on it. And I'll try to tell the truth the best I know how. And I highly encourage you to do the same. So with that being said, until next time, fellas, until next time, everyone, you take care of yourselves and you take care of each other. And never, ever stop telling stories. Okay? You see you guys.